answers. All right, shoot, Dolan.
The worst possible thing you could say when you walk into a car dealership. I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and the worst thing a person could say when they walk in is, if you could just get me to this payment, we got a deal.
So your loan's probably still like 19, which means you got to pay to get out. You're upside down. It's called negative equity.
What's going on, everybody? We are officially kicking off episode 1 of Car Shopping Questions and Answers. I am your host, Deshone the Auto Advisor. We're going to do this show for about an hour. I'm excited to get really down into the nitty-gritty of showing you how you can buy cars, lease cars, and get below market prices. And if you don't know me, I spent 14 years in the car business, 5 with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors. And now what we do is we devote our time and our energy into teaching you how to car shop with strategy, how to understand the things that you haven't been taught to understand. So we do rapid fire Q&A. And no matter where you're at, I want you to start typing your questions. We're live on 4 platforms right now. And this whole broadcast is going to be sponsored by my new book. It's a digital book. It's called Cars from Home: 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. There's a link in every single post, so you can get your copy at 75% off for the next 30 minutes. But while we're here, let's go deep. And everything I'm going to be teaching you is going to be out of my book. And all of your questions are going to be answered in one of our 7 steps. So start typing your questions. I got my man Dolan in the background. I see a lot of people on TikTok, but I don't see the questions coming in on TikTok yet. And TikTok, y'all usually are the ones that send the questions the fastest. So let's get these questions up. And so Dolan can start loading them onto the show and we can get down to business. So Dolan, kick us off when you're ready. 75%. Yes, 75% off is today, SS. That's from YouTube. Yes, you can get it for the next 30 minutes. It's normally $97. But it'll be in your inbox in about 5 minutes at 75% off. So let's go, Dolan. When you're ready, if we've got the first question, let's kick it off. Okay, this one's from YouTube. Hello. Thank you for all your advice. We're looking at the car on Copart, and it was a salvage title. What is your experience with these types of auctions? So I don't get into teaching about salvage titles. I'm going to tell you why. I consider that to be like foreclosures. I'm not telling you that there's anything wrong with these cars. What I am saying is they're like foreclosures in real estate, which means you should be learning from someone who actually lives that life every day, because there are many risks. When a normal person starts entering into a high risk market, the rewards could be high, but also the risks are high. So I would tell you to find someone who's buying salvage titles, buying at auction, and learn from that person. Okay, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. Okay, this one's from Instagram. I got a lease with Nissan, not looking to go back to Nissan. Should I buy it out and then trade the vehicle in for what I want? This is a great question. First of all, can everybody hit the share button? And if you're on TikTok, can y'all just start tapping the screen and light this up? Because we want to set people free, and it takes all of us to do this. It takes the people who are committed to this mission. You want to save money. You also want your friends to save money. Tag somebody. They'll thank you. So this is a great question. The only time it makes sense financially to buy a lease is when you're keeping it another 8 years. I'm going to tell you why. I'm teaching something called the 8-year rule, because what you guys have to learn is the unseen expense. The unseen expense is depreciation. That's the expense you haven't been taught to see. You haven't been taught to focus on it. It's depreciation. That's the reason why when you buy a car today for $30,000, tomorrow, if you tried to sell it, it's not worth 30,000 anymore. It's worth 25. It's worth 24, whatever. That's depreciation. So when you keep your car long term, your car's value goes down like this. But when you keep it long term, the depreciation starts to level out. When you buy your lease, all you're doing is buying a pre-owned car. That's all you're doing. Yes, it's a lease that you had, but you have to start seeing it as it's just a used car. So you want to ask yourself, should I buy a used car and then turn around and sell it? That's what you're talking about. Now, Coach Mojo, we don't buy leases. What we do is we see if we can sell them for a profit. If you didn't know you could sell a lease, I want you to type a 1 in the chat. We're going to be peeling back a lot of things you're going to discover as you listen and you stay in this community. You can sell a lease. Most of you have heard of the term lease with the option to buy, but you're not familiar with lease with the option to sell. You have those rights no matter what. 9 times out of 10, we're going to exercise our option to sell. And how you sell, there's 3 ways to sell. There's 3 different types of what I call an equity assessment. This is step 2 in my book. You must do an equity assessment. If you have ever dropped your lease off to a dealership and you haven't done this, then you could have given them thousands of dollars without knowing. So what you're going to do is do an equity assessment by calling the bank, finding out how much you owe. You want to get your payoff. That's going to tell you, let's say it's $18,500. That's your customer payoff. Now what you want to do is you want to see who will pay you more than that, or at least that amount. And we don't go to dealerships for that. We go right online. This takes 20 minutes to do. We're going to go to CarMax.com, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, and Car Guru Sell My Car. This is going to get us 6 offers, cash offers. See, our cars are not worth what an algorithm tells us our cars are worth. Our cars are worth what a person is willing to pay for today. And when you see those numbers, that's going to tell you if you have equity versus not having equity. So the short version of your question is, Coach Mojo, you shouldn't be buying your car unless you're planning on keeping it another 8 years, because we teach something called the 8-year rule, which is if you're not keeping your car 8 years, you're not going to outlive the depreciation drop in value. So you shouldn't be buying it. You should be leasing. And I know a lot of you probably, oh, well, Deshone, I was taught never lease. I was taught don't lease. I was taught don't lease. Well, you're going to find out the more you stay here, as you just dive in to financial numbers we go over, you're going to see that that's bad advice. And unfortunately, millions of people have been subject to bad advice that has been costing them money. Okay, so we'll go more into detail on that. There's only 2 ways to beat depreciation. Long-term ownership, that's our 8-year plus people. If you're keeping your cars, your next car, if your plan is to keep it 8+ years, I want you to type K in the comments for keeper. Type K in the comments if your next car, you're like, Deshone, my next car, I want to keep it at least 8 years. I want you to type a K. All right? Now, if you are not keeping your car at least 8 years, then you should be shopping for a lease, because that's how you're going to avoid depreciation. We're going to talk more about leasing, because you cannot just get any lease. You have to get what I call a good value lease. We'll go more into detail on that. But that's the foundation, Coach Mojo. Answer those questions first before you think about anything else. All right? Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next question up, man. Keep typing the questions, y'all. We're bringing them from all platforms. This one's from TikTok. What to do if you have no pre-approval letter, even with a 730 score? Okay, great question. We don't focus on pre-approval letters. What we focus on is making sure, all right, so I teach something called the bank bidding war. Everything we're going to do from now on is going to be a bid. Could y'all keep tapping the screen on TikTok? I see y'all running the lights up. When y'all keep tapping the screen, what it does is let TikTok know, listen, more people need to get over here because we're talking about something that everyone needs to hear. So I appreciate y'all. Look, they're running them up. What to do if you have no pre-approval letter. So we were taught always get pre-approved. But here's the problem. People got onto it. Whenever we do something and the public starts moving in a way, the big companies adjust to it and they find a way to infiltrate it. Most of the companies that you're trying to get pre-approved from, that I'm trying to get pre-approved from, their goal is to isolate us. Something called restricted pre-approvals. I'm gonna tell you what a restricted pre-approval is and why we stay away from them. A restricted pre-approval limits where you can shop. We'll approve you, but only to shop with Carvana. We'll approve you, but only to shop with our dealer network. We'll approve you, but only to shop with a drive time dealer. Because a pre-approval is the whole purpose when you learn how we shop, which is to shop wide. When you start seeing to shop wide and get multiple offers and see the entire 100-mile radius within where you live as a huge market where people are competing to sell you a car, you'll start seeing why we never want to deal with a restricted pre-approval. So what we do is we use something called the bank bidding war. The only way, how many people have asked themselves, did I get the best interest rate? Type $signs. If you've asked yourself ever, you bought a car and you said, did I really get the best interest rate? Type a $sign if you've wondered that. See, the only way to get something we call price assurance, which is to guarantee. See, these are powerful words that I want you to add to your vocabulary when you're car shopping. We need to guarantee that we got the best interest rate. How do we do that? Getting bids. Experian wrote an article. They allow you to have multiple lenders pull your credit with a hard pull and compete and give you rates within a 14 to 45 day period. Now, don't ask me why they say 14 to 45 days. That's the window. I'm going to teach you how to do it in a way where it'll only take you 2 days and you're going to let tons of people run your credit and you're going to guarantee you got the best rate, and it's going to weigh on your score like one hard inquiry. So if one hard inquiry would have dropped your score 9 points, natural. We buy a car, a hard inquiry is going to drop our score. That's natural. But we're going to get 20 hard inquiries and it's going to drop our score the exact same way. This is how it works. You do not let anyone run your credit under any circumstances until after you find your car. In my book, I have something called the Perfect Budget Calculator. I created this tool. What it does is it's going to tell you, it's going to give you multiple goals. It's going to tell you exactly what car you can afford. It's going to tell you how to be under your max monthly payment. And you put everything you want to put in, what your max monthly payment is, we use the standard interest rate. So whatever the interest rate is at this time, we use that. Budget. The only purpose for a pre-approval is to budget. Think about some of you who are homeowners. The only purpose in getting pre-approved was to budget so that you can go buy your house, right? You with me? That's the only purpose. If we don't get pre-approved, we don't know how much we could afford. So when we do, what we do is we take the average interest rate, and that's what we're going to use to estimate our payments. This is in my book. See, I created technology. So some of you are saying, Deshone, is this just a book? No, it's not just a book. I have links in there. I have links to videos in there. I have platforms that I've created and calculators and tools that I created that I wish I could refer to you. No, but they're only in my book. So you can get the book. I'm going to teach you how to do things the manual way. Some things you can say, Deshone, I could do that manually. But if I'm telling you about a tool I created to use so that it can budget for you, then the only way to get it is to actually get my book. You can get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio. You can get it in my Instagram bio. You can go to deshonesbook.com, or you can scan the QR code and get your copy for 75% off for 30 minutes. But when you budget, you know exactly how much you can spend on a car, and you go find your car under that budget. The Perfect Budget Calculator is going to give you multiple goals. See, here's the problem. When you go out shopping for a car, you notice how you have a budget in mind and you typically tend to go over it. You say, I don't want to spend any more than $500, or I don't want to spend any more than $30,000. But you usually end up going over it because you don't factor in tax. You don't factor in how long the loan. You don't factor these things in. Okay, well, how much? They said I'm pre-approved for $30,000, but What does that equate to in a monthly payment? It's broken. It's a broken system. When we go out, we find the car we're looking for. That's when we are going to now let people run our credit. Never before that. We go out, you find your best deal on a car. That's when you come home and you let multiple people run your credit and fight it out to give you an interest, to give you a loan. See, because if you let people run your credit before this, now they're going to give you a time limit. So even this is all answering this young lady's question about pre-approvals. The reason why they're garbage is because if it's a hard pull, they're garbage, because now they've started that window that I told you about. You got 14 to 45 days and it starts to count down. Now you're trying to rush and find a car. Some of us, it might take us 3 months to find the best deal on our car. If you got a pre-approval and the time is expiring, you're shopping with your back against the wall. Second reason it's garbage is because once they give you a pre-approval, you are now tied to them and you don't have the opportunity to bid, and it's just garbage. So do what I'm telling you to do. When you find your car, that's when you're going to come home and you are going to now let people run your credit, and then you are going to let the dealer see if they can beat it. See, this is a must. I know you may have been taught, I don't let that dealer run my credit. No, make them compete. The bad part is when the dealer is trying to give you an interest rate when you have no offer. That's bad. But when you have an offer, that's when he's trying to beat it. And that's a very different thing. You tell him, hey, I got 7.2 from whatever bank. That's the best offer I got. Okay. Now that dealer goes to work with their 7 to 12 bank. Hey, listen, can we beat this? And when he calls you, he's going to tell you one or two things. Hey, good news. I was able to beat that interest rate. In which case, you what? Guarantee you got the lowest interest rate. Or he's going to say, listen, I tried my best. I talked to every bank I got. Nobody could beat that rate. In which case, what? You still what? Guarantee you got the best interest rate. So the only way we're going to be able to do that is with bids. We're going to stop negotiating. We're going to start making people bid. That's what we're all about here. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. I'm going to try to get through these. I'm going to try to give, see, I can't do short answers to some questions. Okay, hold on. Yeah, hold on. Link to 75% off is not working. Are y'all able to click it on TikTok? Let me know on TikTok if y'all are able to access the 75% off. Okay, this one's from YouTube. My credit score is between 500 and 600. Can I still get a nice car? Great question. You should be focused on getting a great car, and you should be, all right. My credit score is between 500 and 600. Can I still get a nice car? Under no circumstances do you ever want to compromise on the car. Follow me. You are going to focus on getting a great car, knowing I'm probably going to pay more in interest. Paying more in interest is not bad considering your situation. Here's why. That can be fixed. Refinance, that can be fixed. But if you get a bad car, that cannot be fixed. So we have resources. I use a company. I refer people to LendBuzz. LendBuzz will work with people who have challenged credit, but here's what you got to know. You can't let them dictate how you're going to shop. You must have your own shopping strategy. Now, there's two situations where if you have bad credit, how many years are you keeping the car? That's the question. If it's 8+ years, then no problem. I'm going to get the best car I can find. I'm going to pay a little bit more in interest, but as soon as my credit's good, I'm going to refinance that loan. Problem solved. Second person is Deshone. I'm not keeping my car 8 years, but I need a car now. Perfect. You should be trying to set yourself up for a lease in 2 years, in which case you want to get the least expensive car that you can get a loan on. $10,000, $12,000. You're going to use that perfect budget calculator, or you just want to say $10,000 to $12,000. You're going to try to find a car in that range. I'm going to tell you why. In 2 years, when you go to trade out of that car, if you go and buy yourself a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 car, you're going to have a bunch of negative equity. And what that's going to do is that's going to stop you from getting a lease. This is what people do. Oh, Deshone, I couldn't qualify for a lease, so I'm gonna go out. I want to get that Dodge Charger with the big engine in it because I can't sacrifice for 2 years. I can't be out here looking like I don't have a nice car, problem. I can't help you. But if you're willing to say, because I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why. When you get that Dodge Charger, you usually forced your way into it, bought an older one, paying a high payment, high interest. So in 2 years, when you think you're gonna trade out of it and go lease, you're gonna have a hard time because the negative equity is gonna be so severe. And when you have that $600, $700, $800, $900 car payment, chances are you might miss one of them. This is a disaster because we can't sacrifice. So what I'm telling you to do is say, all right, if Deshaun's telling me that the best move financially is for me to be leasing because I'm not keeping my cars 8 years, I need to be getting great leases, but I can't qualify, then my mission is to qualify. That's my mission. So when I look at what that take, what did that take? That means I'm going to get a car now, and that's going to be my sacrifice car. That's going to be my car that I drive for 2 years, build my credit. It's not going to be my perfect car. My perfect car is going to be when I drive a brand new lease off the lot 2 years from now. This is my setup car. So I'm going to make sure I get a low price car where I won't miss a payment. I'm going to build that payment history. I'm going to have minimal negative equity. And then in 2 years, I'm going to make a power move. That's the short term and the long term. That's why it's important to know, is this a long-term car or is this a short-term car? Very important to know. If it's long-term, I told you what to do. You buy a car, refinance later. Short-term, you should be setting yourself up for a lease in 2 years. Buy yourself an inexpensive car, low loan, small loan, and get ready to trade that in 2 years. But you must get a great car in either situation. You can't sacrifice the quality of the car or the whole plan goes to hell. Your car breaks down midway, plan is scrap the plan. So we never compromise. So check this out. I see as soon as you purchase the book, I give you a support email because I do not DM me about products. Everyone gets a support email because we want to handle those issues immediately. DMs I barely see. Thank God we got 2 million plus followers. I can barely see DM. That's why as soon as you get a book, I say screenshot this screen. If you don't get that book within 5 to 10 minutes, check your spam, check your junk. Then you go and you contact support and we'll make sure we email you that copy manually. Okay, because that's what we do. Don't DM, use that support email so we can make sure we take care of you. All right, shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great question so far. What would dealers try to sell you a car that has issues? Don't sign up for these answers. That's why does the sun rise in the east and set in the west? Some questions are not worth trying to answer. Just plan accordingly and move accordingly, knowing these things are. If the people who are supposed to be taking care of you with cars are not educating you, are not moving with integrity, then you better be educated. Remember that. If the people who are supposed to be taking care of your money, when you come to buy a car, lease a car, that's a $10,000 to $100,000 transaction, some of you. If those people are not moving with integrity, and you cannot guarantee that, a smile doesn't guarantee that, talking nice doesn't guarantee that, you better be educated. And the people who are going to move like the way we're going to move, the way you're going to move if you're listening to this, the way you're going to move if you have my strategies in my book, the way you're going to move when you learn how to car shop online and make people bid, you're going to be educated where no one can take advantage of you. You're empowered. You're the one in control. You're the prize. You're the one people are competing with to earn their business. And that's what I want for you. All right, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. Just keep typing your questions, y'all. We're bringing them in from all platforms. Hello, I put a down payment on a car 45 days ago. They gave me the keys, and now 45 days, the dealership says the bank doesn't want to do the deal. The bank says they never said that. Do I take the car back? Reach out to the bank. If the bank has an account for you, then that account is in stone. If they have your name and they have your name on an account number tied to that car, then it doesn't matter. They could be trying to bring you back and trade that car and do another transaction, which is legit if you fall for it. You get what I'm saying? If you bring that car back and switch it, then let them trade you out of that car, sell you a different car, that's another transaction. But if you have an account number with that bank, then that means that bank is that deal is signed and sealed. That's what you got to make sure, Empress. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. This one's from Facebook. I'm about to begin the process of buying a car from a dealership. They're offering me a lowered payment if I go with one of their lenders. Are there any ways to save on this deal? So, have you gotten bids? See, did they look? You were programmed to be loyal to dealers. I'm from the industry. I was in the industry for 14 years. I'm teaching people all around the country. We have over 8 close to 8,000 customers that have used our stuff and used our products since 2021. We have data from all around the country. There is absolutely no way that you're going to get your best deal ever focusing on one dealer. That would be like you going into a supermarket and say, hey, no matter what the price of this item is, I'm only buying it from this brand. Or you saying, oh, I'm gonna buy a TV. No matter what I'm just gonna walk into Walmart and whatever the best price on the TV is that I see, I'm just gonna take that. I'm not gonna look online, I'm not gonna look on Amazon, I'm not gonna look on Best Buy. I'm just gonna walk into one store committed to try to get a deal with that store. That's the same thing you're doing. Could y'all keep running the likes up on TikTok, keep tapping the screen? If you're getting value out of this, I appreciate it. We don't do that anymore. That is a recipe. And look, I'm going to tell you something, and I hope you don't take offense to it. Our grandparents shopped like that. In what way in 2024, 2025, almost 20 years, 30 years after the internet's being invented, you're still shopping like our grandparents shopped? Does that make sense? It makes sense when you're like, yeah, Deshone, that's what I'm doing. But it doesn't make sense in the grand scheme of why am I doing this? It's because that's what you were taught to do. That's why I represent unlearn, relearn. You can't win with what I teach unless you're willing to scrap all that bad knowledge. We don't buy from one dealer. 3 transactions that people have been, I'm gonna break this down real quick in literally a second so y'all understand. There's 3 transactions that you've been taught to give to car dealers. 3. Buying your car from them is one transaction. Who you get your loan from is another transaction. Who you sell your old car to is a 3rd transaction. And many of you have been taught to give the dealer all 3. Meanwhile, there are people who only want to give you a loan. They don't sell cars. They want to compete for your loan. There's other people who want to buy your old car. They don't sell cars. They want to buy your old car. Y'all get what I'm saying? Type a Y for yes, if you're understanding that you have to start breaking these transactions into their own transactions. You can't maximize and guarantee you're getting your best deal mixing 3 transactions or 2 transactions into one. You can't do it. We're breaking them up. And now once we break them up, how do we guarantee we get the best offer in each one? Bids. So you understand? So what we're doing is we need to see our old car, our old lease, our old car that we have that we're replacing. Who I'm going to sell that car to is one transaction. And whoever's going to win the bid gets the car. Who I'm going to get my loan from, that's another transaction. And whoever wins the bid gets my loan. Who I'm going to buy my car from, that's another transaction. And who's going to win the bid gets the car, gets to sell me the car. And we do this in 60 minutes. See, what you're going to see, watch this. Let me show you Frina. Frina just picked up her Jeep last week. Look at the deal she got. This is why you're never going to get these deals walking in the dealers. You're never going to be able to guarantee your best deal walking in the dealers. You're going to sit at home and be in control. Look at Frina's deal. She said, look, I'm a proud graduate. Cars from Home that's our video library. And, like I said, I coach people all around the country. She said, I picked up this baby yesterday. Look at the date. 2024 Jeep Grand Cherokee Anniversary Edition. Followed the program, used all the scripts. I have scripts in my book. I have scripts that we don't talk. Because if you have to talk, you run the risk of messing something up. No offense. I'd rather you type. If you'd rather type than talk, type a 1. So contact the dealers, seal the deal $579 a month. Look at the MSRP on this car. She got a hybrid one, $65,000 vehicle, almost 66. Her best deal, who won the bid, was a 0.88% lease. That is unheard of in the world. See, I teach something called the 1.5% rule for knowing when you're paying too much for a lease. The 1% rule has been around since way before I even got in the car business. If you could lease a car for 1% of the MSRP, no money down, no money out of pocket, you stole the car. This is 0.88%. I owe it all to Deshone. Without this program, I wouldn't have had the tools to shop from home. Shopping from home the right way is how you're going to win. Some of you may have tried, Deshone. I tried. It seems hard. Yeah, because once the internet was invented, internet salespeople got invented. And internet salespeople are trained to make it hard. They got to make money. And what they're going to do is they're going to make it hard for you to get a deal done, because half the time you don't even know the information you need to give them to get a quote. Hey, I got to give you where I work at. See if I qualify for any rebates. I got to tell you what cars are in my household. See if I qualify for any rebates. I got to tell you, what affiliations I have. I got to tell you what my date is. I have something called a no later than date. What's my deadline? Hey, I could buy a car, Deshone. I don't need a car for about 3 months. Should I start shopping now? Yes, you should. Because if you get in the market now and you can buy a car today, but you don't need it for 3 months, that's called leverage. See, most people walking in the dealers, they're like, hey, I need a car this week. I need a car today. That means the car that's coming 6 weeks from now, they can't benefit from that. You can. But you got to learn how to give this information. And this is why when you try to shop online, you have a hard time, because you don't know. You're defensive and you're like, I'm not giving a dealer what they need, but I'm also not staying in a position where I don't give them too much information where they can use it against me. So that's what we'll learn. Everything I'm teaching you is, if I can boil it down to a couple simple things, mastering the science of shopping from home. That's why my book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships, and making people bid for your business. We can sum that. Once you master those 2 things, you're going to save more money in 60 minutes than you ever saved going into dealers 2, 3, 4 times, spending hours in there. And you're going to have price assurance, which is guaranteeing that you couldn't have saved any more money. That's what Freenah has. That's what I want you to have. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up, brother. Keep typing your questions, y'all. We're bringing them in from all platforms. Let me bring Freenah's pick down. All right, perfect. Shoot the next one up. All right, I'm trying to fly through these, y'all, but I can't give short answers. You get what I'm saying? I got to give you the full answer. Can you get a great deal on the lease vehicles on a Range Rover? Okay, great question. You can't control the lease program. The lease program is what's going to dictate when the dealer wins the bid. Let's say a dealer, I always teach, when you start getting bids on a lease you should see about at least a $3,000 to $5,000 difference from your best offer to your worst offer. Now, sometimes it's more drastic than that. You're doing it, you'll see a $7,000 difference from your best offer to your worst offer, but you need to see a spread. I'm going to tell you why. 80% of dealers are overpriced. So when you start getting offers, if you don't get enough offers to where you see that spread, you haven't gotten enough offers. I teach you need to get at least 5. In my book, I have something called the 25 to 5 strategy. So once the whole purpose of a bid is to find the dealer that's willing to discount the car and sell the car lower than all their competitors. And if there's any rebates, to disclose them to you. That's only going to come through bids, because you don't know who you're dealing with. An 80% dealer is not going to tell you all the rebates. An 80% dealer will tell you, okay, yeah, there's no rebates, but there actually is. 80% dealer is going to say, all right, yeah, there's $1,000 rebate. Hey, but there's actually $2,500. So you can't depend on an 80% dealer. You have to get multiple offers and reveal who the actual dealers are who is going to win the bid. Now, once that happens on a lease, the lease program is in the background. And if the lease program is trash, then you're going to be over 1.5%. And over 1.5% means the payment you're paying, when it's more than 1.5% of the MSRP, that means you're paying too much for a car you're giving back. See, I was concerned to start making lease videos because I knew when people started finding out how good leasing was, they were going to just go into dealers and say, hey, work me up a lease. Problem with that is, if you don't know how to get a great lease, you're going to get a bad lease, sign up for it, and it's still going to be better than your history of purchasing. So you're going to think you won, but you left thousands of dollars on the table. So I don't want to teach you about going after leases until you learn how to get multiple offers so you can reveal the best deals. But what we do is we always with leases have 3 options because we can't control the lease program. And if we can't control the lease program, we need to have a bet. Because look, y'all, there's tons of companies out there that are offering bad leases and people are signing up for them, especially some luxury brands. Every car has a different lease program. Luxury brands will say, hey, we're going to put a bad lease out there because we know we can ego sell people, which means, hey, come on, Mr. Jones, come on. How long you been driving Range Rovers? Man, I've been driving them for 12 years. All right, well, come on. You really gonna leave Range Rover over a couple dollars? Yeah, but I mean, the lease seems kind of high. It seems like, I'd be better off buying the car. No. If you don't know that, they're going to ego sell you. So until people stop signing these bad leases, we are not going to get to the point where some of these banks say, all right, we got to stop with the bad lease deals. Now, conversely, opposite end, there's phenomenal lease deals out there. Like Yusuf Rena. I'll show you a couple more before we jump off the show. So it's harder to get a great lease deal because there's a lease program. It's easy to get a car if you're buying brand new through bids. Easy to save thousands of dollars. But we can't dictate the lease program. And we're not going to sign I will never say to you, sign a bad lease. Dealer will tell you, oh, look, I'm beating all my competition. Phil, man, look, I'm saving you like $6,000. Man, I wish I could lower the payment, but the lease program's not good. That's okay. That's why it only takes us 60 minutes to get these quotes. We don't want to spend hours to find out it's a bad lease program. We pick a car, we get our bids. Within 2 days, we're going to know if it's a bad lease program, in which case we move to our Plan B vehicle. Okay? So everything I'm teaching is out of my new book. It's called Cars from Home. It's a digital book. It's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. Your goal is to master the science of car shopping from home and to start making people bid for your business. All right, that's everything it's going to show you in 7 steps, and you can get it for 75% off in my TikTok bio, or you can get it in my Instagram bio, or you can get it in my you can go to deshonsbook.com or scan the QR code. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. This one's from TikTok. How do I get out of negative equity? 3 options for negative equity. That's it. And after I tell you these 3 options, I need you to know the cause. The cause is super important because I can give you a Band-Aid, but if you don't know the cause, you're going to continue to be in trouble. 3 options. 2 lead to a new car. 1 doesn't. Negative equity is the bad credit to people with good credit because if you have too much, it will stop you from getting your car. So your first option with negative equity is to pay it off. Here's what happens. You want to use that equity assessment process that I told you about a little while ago. You're going to call your bank, find out what you owe. After you find out what you owe, you're going to go to those websites I mentioned, CarMax, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, Car Guru, Sell My Car. That's going to give you 6 cash offers. These people are bidding on cars every day. They usually put their best offer out there. In 30 minutes, you'll have 6 offers. They pay more than dealers on average. In fact, 2 or 3 of those bids you're going to get are actually from dealers. So it's a nice mix of offers. 3 of them are from online car buyers, CarMax, Driveway, Carvana. 3 of them are from car dealers, local car dealers. So it's a nice mix, but they're bidding. That's going to lead to the least amount of negative equity because remember, when you get bids, you're getting the most value. You're getting the most savings. You're getting the most money when you are getting bids. So let's just say you pull your payoff in at $16,000. Your highest bid is $14,000. That means you have a $2,000 negative equity gap. You are much better off coming up with the $2,000 and paying that car off and going into your next transaction clean. That is the best way to go. Because now, if you can't do that, I'm going to tell you why it's the best way when I tell you the second way to get out of negative equity. If you can't pay the difference, then that means you must bring that car. You can't do a separate transaction with that car because you need the dealer who you're going to buy the car from to wrap the negative equity into the new deal. They are still going to win the bid. You must, in all cases, only deal with dealers who won the bid. But once they win the bid to sell you the car, now when you come to them, you're going to now bring your old car into it and see what it's worth to them. When you see what they can pay for it, you're going to see in most cases, it is not going to be the highest number you got from the online buyers. So if the online buyer's highest number was 14, maybe that dealer can only pay 12,200, 12,500. And you might say to them, hey man, but CarMax was offering me this. They're not going to be able to match it in most cases. It's just not possible because they can't win both bids. If you start buying cars for the most money, selling cars for the least money, it won't take you long to be out of business. That's probably what happened to Vroom. They were buying cars for the most money and then trying to sell them, and they weren't able to make the profit. So we must separate the process, but if you can't pay the difference, you now must bring your old car into the process after a dealer wins the bid, introduce them, hey, this is the car. Now, they've already won the bid. They beat all their competition to sell you a car. So they've already proved they're a 20% dealer. Now you're bringing your old car, and you're going to see, Dad, if I would have sold it to them, I would only had 2,000 negative equity. But bringing it over to this transaction, I actually got like 3,700 negative equity. And there's nothing we can do about that. That's why I said the plan A is always, if you can cover the difference, cover the difference. If you can't, that's your only option. Now, here's the third thing. I told y'all 2 things lead to a new car with negative equity, 1 doesn't. If you have too much negative equity, you have to understand loan to value ratios. Loan to value ratios have nothing to do with credit scores. That's why I call negative equity the bad credit to people with good credit. When you bring your negative equity over, the bank is only going to lend a certain percentage above the price of the car. So if the price of the car is 30,000 and you have good credit, the bank might only lend 36. They might only lend 20% more, 25% more than the price of the car. So if you're coming over and you're trying to do a no money down deal, which is what we do, we shop with no money down. If we can make no money down deals and we can get the car payment to where we want, if we can get the whole deal to where we want with no money, that's what we do. It's different when interest rates are higher. We typically put more money down to avoid paying more high interest. But when it comes to us shopping, we always shop with no money down. So if you're trying to do a no money down deal and you are trying to bring all this negative equity over and trying to not just finance the price of the car, but the tax, the fees, and negative equity, you run the risk of blowing out the loan to value ratios, in which case you're not going to be approved. You could have a 900 credit score. They're going to tell you you got to put money down because you can't finance all that negative equity. So it depends on how much. And if that's too high and you can't put down money to actually make a difference, then you're going to need to stay and pay down that car for a couple more months or even maybe a couple more years to lower the amount of negative equity. So that's how you get out. That's all in my book. 3 ways to get out of negative equity. But what you got to know is the cause. Only legitimate reason for negative equity is because you had an emergency and you had to switch cars. Now, if we go by things that can be prevented, like Deshone, I bought a car, it's breaking down. Well, that means you bought the wrong car. We can prevent that with knowledge. Now, if you say, Deshone, I just wanted a new car and I switched it, that's costing you. And because you don't understand leasing, see, 90% of the time, 10% we give to emergencies. Deshone, man, I had a sedan, then I had twins, I had triplets. I need to get an SUV. I got to switch the car. Understood. Legitimate reason. Switch the car, stay in it long term, pay off, and keep the car. But 90% of the time is you don't understand leasing. and you buy your cars, you take out 5, 6, even God forbid 7-year loans, you switch these cars in 3 years, 4 years, you always have negative equity and you're overpaying by thousands of dollars. That's the cause. That is the cause. I've been doing this since 2006. The reason for most people, most of your negative equity is because you haven't learned the lease yet and you're buying cars, but you're a short-term person. All right? And the more you stick around here, the more you'll understand why that's a mistake. If you get my book, you'll understand, oh, I've been doing this wrong. Now, I was taught this. I don't blame you. You were taught that. But when you learn, when you do better, when you know better, you do better. And that is my goal, is to make sure you know better. My pleasure, Reggie. You said thank you for everything. My pleasure. Absolutely. Everything I'm teaching y'all is out of my new digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. You can get your copy for 75% off as part of our launch in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, or you can go to deshonsbook.com. There's a link in the comments, or you can scan the QR code if you're watching us on the television, and you can get your copy for 30 minutes. Once that timer expires, book goes back up to $97. So get your copy before the timer runs out. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. All right, this one's from YouTube. Appreciate all of your content. Thank you. We are looking to buy our teenage daughter her first car. Is there any downside to purchasing outside of a name franchise dealer? No, if you do your due diligence, because there's 100,000 plus used car dealers in the country. Let's assume 80% of them are trash. As long as you are sorting, when we shop for used cars, and you want to ask yourself the 8-year rule question. If you're not keeping this car, if you don't think your daughter's keeping this car 8 years, then you should be shopping for a lease for her. Now, if you say the only difference, there is one exception to the 8-year rule for those of you who are buying inexpensive used cars. $10,000 used cars, $7,000 used cars. That's different. That's different. I call these smart cars, not the little smart cars. It stands for saving money at the right time. So if you're buying these cars, my brother does this. He buys pre-owned cars. He gets some $10,000, $7,000, $5,000, and he drives them. He pays very little money. Sometimes he sells them and makes a little money. That's different. But the mainstream cars, if you're not keeping them 8 years, $15,000, $20,000 used cars that you're buying, you're going to see the 8-year rule is the gospel. You should be buying cars if you're keeping longer than 8 years. You should be shopping for aggressive leases if you're not keeping 8 years. So let's assume you're going to keep this car 8 years. When we are buying from used car dealers, y'all, we are absolutely shopping 100-mile radius, at least. That's usually where we start. And then we're going to search, and we're going to narrow down based on title history, based on service records, based on accident history. And then we need to verify that the price that they advertise online is legit, because there is something going on right now. It's been happening for a few years. They know you're looking for online prices. So what they do is they put a price online that they don't intend to honor. So the first thing, so we narrow it down based on those things. And when we get to this final step where we got our top 3, top 5 choices, we need to see who's going to do bogus fees, who's going to try to hit us with bogus fees, in which case we eliminate them. And then we narrow it down to the best one. And we need to pull the original. Listen, who's going to be buying a used car? I want you to type a U. If your next car you're keeping for more than 8 years is going to be a used car, type a U in the comment. In the comment section. Or if you've purchased a used car in the past, type a U in the comment. Type a U in the comment. Okay, Snowman, I see you. Felicia, I see you. Miss Bambi, I see you. Reginald, I see you. Okay, so we got a lot of people. Okay, all right, we got a lot of people who are going to be buying a used car or have bought a used car in the past. What I just told y'all is how we're going to talk about how we're going to get a quality used car. Plus, I do something. Step 4 in my process is we have to do a longevity check. Some of these cars have data that shows they don't last more than 80,000 miles before the transmission goes out. If you don't know that, then there's nothing you can do but be surprised when the transmission goes out at 78,000 miles. So we always want to do a longevity check on Google. We search these things. But the other way, what I just told y'all is how we make sure we're getting a quality car. Accident, title history, service records, accident history. But when it comes to now the value, Deshone, how do I make sure I'm actually getting a great price? How do I make sure that the car I'm buying is the best price in the market? We need to know the original price of the car. We need to know what the car was brand new. Because what you've been taught is to focus on what the website tells you. Is this a good deal? Great deal, below market. Because websites, their job is to be accountable to the people paying them. And if they were telling you that this car that you're looking at for $30,000 was originally $38,000, and it's actually only being discounted $8,000 from when it was brand new. If they were telling you that, then no one would be buying those cars, in which case no one would be paying them to list their cars on those websites. So they're not accountable to you or me. They're accountable to who pays them. So we find out through the window sticker what the original price was. Carfax has agreements with some brands where they will actually give you the original window sticker, but we must get the original window sticker. And when we get the original window sticker, that's going to tell us the discount with something I call the true value percentage. We created this. The true value percentage is the discount from the price when it was new. And that's all that matters when you end up choosing a car. Give you an example as we wrap this question up. If you're looking at three Honda Pilots. You've narrowed it down to 3 Honda Pilots. They're all within $1,000, $1,500 of each other. One's $30,000, one's $30,500, one's $31,000. Similar mileage, similar title history, similar everything. We get stuck right there. We don't get stuck when we get the original window sticker and we see that one of those Honda Pilots brand new was $45,000. One of them brand new was $49,000. One of them brand new was $53,000. You see how immediately access to that information separated the value? They all look similar. Type dollar signs if you got that revelation. If you understand that just that bit of information. I'm looking at 3 cars, they all look similar. Dag, they all look good, similar mileage, similar price on these websites. Which one do I pick? Man, I'm stuck. Knowing the original price, one's 46, one's 49, one's 53. The one that's 53 immediately becomes way more valuable than the other 2. That's what we're talking about. See, it's my job and my mission is to show you how to car shop online, show you how to master the science of car shopping online, show you how to make people bid for your business, and to show you where the hidden money is that you have not been trained to see. Everything I'm teaching is in my book. I don't hold back on these lives. You guys can tell. But if you're like Deshone, I want all this information in one place. I want to be able to use this as my car shopping Bible for the rest of my life. Digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealership is in avoiding dealerships in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, and it's 75% off as part of our launch. Get your copy, use it, and win. All right, let's go, Dolan. Shoot the next one in. Great questions today. Let's go. Keep typing them, y'all. We're going to try to get through as many as possible. How many miles can you drive a leased vehicle? Great question. Many of you were taught that you have to take what they give you. Or some of you were taught they only do 10,000 miles a year on a lease. All of that was bad information. You pick the mileage on your lease, and there are leases that go up to 30,000 miles. Now, some of you might say, well, who drives 30,000 miles a year? Who drives 25,000 miles a year? If you drive 25 or 30,000 miles a year, type HM in the comments for high mileage. So when you think about that depreciation curve that I told you about, your car's value normally, if you're a normal driver, your car's value goes down like this. If you're a high mileage driver, your car's value goes down like this. And so the mission is always to avoid the unseen. This is the unseen expense. I want you to always keep this in mind, because as long as you keep this in mind, buying versus leasing is going to be paramount to you, because you want to avoid this. If you're buying cars 2, 3, 4, 5 years, switching them out, you're switching them out when they're losing the most value. But long term, the value cools off, the depreciation levels out. You don't lose as much value over the years. Some of you have cars that's been outside for 8, 9, 10 years. That car is going to be worth about the same amount it's worth today, a year from now. You've won. That's the goal, to get to that level. If you're buying, if you're like Deshone, I'm not keeping a car 8, 9, 10 years. I'm not going to ever reach that level. Then you should be shopping for leases to avoid the depreciation hit. So when it comes back to 83rd degrees question, you can tailor a lease up to 30,000 miles a year if you want. And here's where I learned this. I was a manager at Hyundai for 6 weeks. Guy came in. He was returning his lease on a Hyundai Sonata. I was doing the lease return for him. And I said, hey, you leased this? He said, yeah, I always lease. I'm in sales. I'm on the road every day. I used to buy my cars. And, you know, I would have a bunch of negative equity all the time. I was just losing thousands of dollars every time I went to replace the car. It wasn't worth what I owed on it. And I just kept rolling over. I stopped doing that when I found out about leasing. Now, same time he's telling me this, I know that I've also sat with people who came in with high mileage with 10, 15 grand of negative equity. So what he's telling me, I've experienced. And I'm trying to help these people and dig them out of this hole and help them get another car, but they have a ridiculous amount of baggage from the old car. So he told me that, and I saw his payment. And I said, man, this payment is only like $175 a month more than a really good deal on a regular lease. And so from then I understood. I'm going to teach people that you need to understand, if you get a great lease deal and then you bump the mileage up from 12,000 to 22,000 or whatever you need, you're going to pay thousands less than if you bought the car and just took that depreciation hit. You bring that car back with 75,000 miles in 3 years, the car is worthless, but you still owe $17,000 on it. That's the difference. So leasing mileage, you pick it, and you can customize it up to any amount. But we always shop for 12,000 miles a year. Always. We don't shop for high mileage leases. When we get our quotes, if you're using what's in my book, the 25-to-5 strategy, we get our quotes with 12,000 miles a year. And once somebody wins the bid, then we convert the bid. We tell the winning dealer, hey, could you show me what the payment's going to be with 18,000 miles a year? And then we customize the lease. If we're going to do any down payment, we always customize after we've identified the winning dealer. Great question. Great question. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one out. Great questions today. All right, keep typing them, y'all. What advice would you give a first-time buyer who doesn't want a car note? Then go save up your cash and go get the best car you could afford. But why is it we always, Whitney, just send an email to support. If you're having trouble getting your book, just send an email to support. We'll send you a copy manually. Oftentimes it's a little one letter is different in the email. So that's why as soon as you purchase, I always give you that support email so that we can make sure you get your book. Okay? But what advice would you give to a first-time buyer who doesn't want a car note? Save up your money, get the best car you can afford. But here's what I want to ask you. Why is it that the only time we want to avoid a monthly payment is with a car? We don't say to the electric company, I don't want a monthly payment. We don't say to the water company, most of us who are buying a house, we have a mortgage. Most of us who are renting, we pay rent every month. Why is it that the only thing that we say we don't want a monthly payment on is a car? Why? Now, I'm not telling you paying cash for cars is bad. But I'm telling you that if you're dealing with a mindset that is, I'm going to pay cash and save up and get a car that is less than a quality car because I don't want a monthly payment. So I'm going to get a car, save up, scrape together some cash and get a car that is less than I could actually get if I used a little leverage, little loan. See, there's something called over leveraging. I'm going to take a 7-8 year loan to afford a car. That's called over leverage. That means you're trying to get a car that you truly can't afford, but you're going to use the bank's money to actually do it. That's over leverage. That's like going in and saying, hey, I'm going to get a 50-year mortgage because I don't want to buy a $300,000 house, $400,000 house. I want to buy a $600,000 house. So I'm going to get a 50-year mortgage so that I could afford the monthly payment. When you do this, there's, again, cash buyers. Nothing wrong with that. But I'm concerned with the mindset, the reasons why. Because the reasons why it makes sense to pay cash is to avoid the interest if interest rates are high. 7, 8, 9%, you want to pay cash? Great. But there are people who come into the dealer. I was blessed to work in some very affluent towns, white collar and blue collar towns. So I had people making 30, 40,000 a year. I had people making 30, 40,000 a month. And what was interesting to me is those who were able to afford paying cash for the car could write a check, because when I would ask them, how are you going to pay for the car? They would ask me, well, what are the rates? If I had a 0% interest rate or 1% or 2%, if their money was making money for them, they wouldn't put it into the car because they see the car as a depreciating asset. What does that truly mean? When I put 30,000 into the car, what is my 30,000 worth to me in 5 years? Let that sink in. Anybody who's paying cash for a car, if you're bringing money out of stocks where you're getting 8%, 7%, 10%, bringing it out of real estate where you're getting 10%, 12%, 15%. When you put that 30,000 in a car, what's that car worth in 5 years, y'all? What is a $30,000 car worth in 5 years? Average miles, 60,000 miles driven on it, 30,000. What is it worth in 5 years? Throw some numbers out there. Throw some numbers out there. Let's see. See what we come up with. My guess is 30,000. Knew that car in 5 years is probably worth like 14. Okay, Pink Butterfly said 13. 19 is too generous, I think. 17, 12. See, some people may be confused about this seller's market we had for 3 years because you might have just sold the car in 3 years and made some money over the last 3 years. That market's gone. So you might have really said, Deshone, I bought a car for 30 and I sold it in 3 years. I sold it in 2022 and I got 23 for it. Well, that's never going to happen again unless we have another, worldwide inventory shortage, in which case resale values go up. Normal market, yep, 12, 13, 14, 15 generously. So a person who's looking at their cash and what their cash is doing for them, they look at that. I put that money in my car, 30,000. That money could have been in the market, and that 30,000 in 5 years could have earned me another $6,000 of interest, $7,000. In which case I'm up. But at that 30,000 in the car is worth now 15 or 14. So these are the things. I don't teach one size fits all. I teach custom. I teach it depends on what you're doing with your money. If your money's invested and interest rates are low, then leverage a little bit. If your money's not invested and you're like, Deshone, I got my money in the mattress, I got my money in the bank, I'm not really doing anything with it. All right, pay cash, keep things low. Keep things low. If interest rates are high, pay all the cash, higher down payments, get the loans out of here faster. That's why, see, one size fits all car buying advice, I hate. That's what has failed you. This one size fits all formula. Everyone should do this. Everyone should pay cash. Everyone should get a used car. That one size fits all, no one should lease. One size fits all formula fails every time because it doesn't take into account real finance. All right, go ahead. Great question. Go ahead, Dolan. See, and I'll answer the question and then go into a little spin-off answer. All right, this one's from Instagram. If I want to keep my car for 8 years, should I finance the car? Absolutely. The goal is to get the best car and the best value. So if you can't pay cash and you say, I want to get a better car, what I teach is when you start budgeting, you are going to now see, can I get a new car or is my budget for a used car? The goal is to get everything you need. And really, if you could get everything you want, even better. What's the difference, Deshone? Well, needs is I gotta have 3 rows because I got 4 kids. Needs is I need a car that has enough power to get me on the highway because I'm on the highway a lot and I can't have an underpowered car. That's a need. A want is I want the leather, I want the big sunroof. So you must get all your needs at all times. You cannot sacrifice needs. I want y'all to put these two things into very important buckets, needs and wants. Needs and wants is the goal. Once the budget gets compromised, once you get out there, if you see I can't get the car I want with everything I need, everything I want, the wants have to scale back. The wants have to scale back, not the needs. I had a woman walk into Mercedes when I was there, and she was like, hey, I want the big truck because I got kids. I need the 3 rows. And once we worked out the deal and the numbers, she saw the numbers and she was like, oh, that's above my budget. But what about the 2-row one? What about the smaller one? I said, didn't you say you need 3 rows for the kids? Yeah, you're right. You're right. See, she's about to take a need out to get a want. Does that make sense? So needs and wants are the big things. Needs will make you switch the car because you didn't get what you need. And when you switch the car, you lose money. So when you didn't get what you need, you will switch the car and lose money. If you didn't get what you want, that's easier to bear. Needs is like from day one, this car is not doing what I needed to do. So we must get our needs first. And that's what we talk about. So then you choose, can my budget get me a new car or a pre-owned car? And once you make that decision, you just go out and you're now shopping the market. I use, in my book, I have something called the multiple marketplace strategy. This is when we shop for used cars. We're on all the marketplaces. We're seeing the whole market as one big marketplace. Everywhere cars are, we are looking and we're narrowing it down to our best, top 3, top 5. And then we're taking one across the finish line. You can't get below market deals on a used car until you see what the market is. See, let me go deep on this for a quick second. The goal for me, if you're learning from me, your goal is to get below market deals, below market leases, below market. You saw Freena's lease. That's a below market lease. That's not a lease that you see advertised that people are getting. So below market pre-owned cars. In order for you to get a below market pre-owned car, you got to know what the market is. So sometimes you're going into one dealer and you're looking and saying, okay, let me negotiate with him. That's a mistake. You don't know what the market is. When you see the low side of the market on a used car, now you're able to see, again, if you're shopping the right way, there's always a spread because there's always people untrained who are going to pay the higher prices. They're going to walk into those dealers. They're going to go back and forth, take $2,000 off. They think they won, but you were negotiating with one of the higher price dealers. So because he took $2,000, $3,000 off, you think you won, but you were at the wrong dealer to begin with. So once you actually see the low side of the market, we zero in on that. And we zero in on that, and we look to take one of those deals across the finish line. Can't get below market deals if you don't know what the market is. That's why when we look at used cars, we're not looking to buy the first day. We're not looking to buy the second day. Sometimes some of you are like, Deshone, I got a couple months. You might want to watch the low side of the market. You might want to, we always get alerts. When we go in, this is all in my book. If you like Deshone, I want to know all of this. I need this in my hand. It's in my book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealers, 75% off in my link, in my bio, TikTok, in my bio, Instagram, or go to DeshonesBook.com or scan the QR code. But when we are getting these, when we are looking at the low side of the market, you might want to watch it. You might want to watch it and see, okay, and then we have alerts on. So every new car that pops up on these marketplaces, we get an email immediately. So we get an email immediately. And if I know that the low side of the market is 22, 23, the minute that car comes on, I'm going to be one of the first ones on it, where everyone else is going to hesitate. When a dealer gets a new car, typically a person who doesn't know the market, they're going to go in there and they're going to be like, all right, is this really a good deal? Meanwhile, we know the market. So we know in a minute, I'm going to snatch that deal before anybody even knew it was there, because the best deals do not last. And that only comes from knowing the market. All right. Go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great questions today. This one's from YouTube. What can I do to increase my confidence so I can negotiate more intelligently? Stop negotiating and start making people bid. Who's not a good negotiator? Type me. You're not a good negotiator. Type me in the comments. Not a good negotiator. Type me in the comments. Okay, that's most of you. And I'm a good negotiator. but you can't get guarantees being a negotiator. Pay attention to what I'm saying. I'm a good negotiator. I did it for a living, but I can't guarantee the lowest price negotiated. The lowest price only, the guarantee of the lowest price. I could be a good negotiator. Negotiator is always going to leave wondering, if you go back and forth with somebody, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, you always leave wondering, could I have gotten a little more? That's not a guarantee. That's not price assurance. Bids, guaranteed, because I'm getting 5 to 7 offers. I'm having, in my case, I teach the 25 to 5 strategy. We're connecting with 25 dealers. We're getting 5 to 7 bids. Whoever wins the bid, wins. That means you beat 25 dealers to earn my business. That means I guarantee that I paid the lowest price and I don't have to talk. That's why in my book are scripts, online scripts. That's the one part that I can't teach you. I can't teach you. It's not that I'm holding back. I can't teach you what my scripts are that are copy and paste. When they say, hey, when can you come in? My script says, hey, well, I'm actually going to be handling my whole transaction online. Oh, actually, well, we don't quote online. Okay, that's not what other dealers are saying. Should I remove you from my list? See what I'm saying? When we're copying and pasting and we know what to say to everything they're going to type, now we move things forward. We keep it on our agenda. This is all in my book, in my video library. This is what the people who have learned from me for the last 3 years have been doing. That's why you see people like Frina. That's why you see people like Pierre, got himself. He came in, got a 22 CX5. Very big thanks to Deshone the Auto Advisor, educating and empowering me to control the entire purchasing process. The perfect budget calculator really helped me figure out what I could realistically afford. With the true value percentage, we talked about that earlier in the show. Everyone purchasing a used car, true value percentage is what we use to make sure we win, price-wise. I spotted the best deal, 6 similar listings, saved over 20% off the original MSRP. I also shop for my own financing. See how we break these transactions down? You see how he's breaking the transactions down? That's how we get bids in each category. Also, I shop for my own financing, got the dealer bank to match it. See? So we're not doing the shop for my own. Oh, I'm not going to let that dealer run my credit. He knows the bank bidding war. The bank bidding war is all these people are going to bid. So I guarantee I got the best price on my used car I bought. I guarantee I got the best loan because the dealer couldn't beat it, but they were able to match it, which means it saved me the time. I didn't have to go through that. And the dealer, see, we guarantee. That's what I want for y'all. And the icing on the cake, learning about bogus fees and walking away from dealers not willing to remove them. Now, the walking away, he's talking about not physically. He's talking about next, not physically, because we're home. We're not going into dealers walking away. Some of you say, Deshone, if I don't get a good deal, I just walk away. That means somebody wasted your time. And when you walk away, you still need a car. So you're not hurting the dealer when you walk away. Someone's going to buy that car, even if it's overpriced, and they're going to look at you and say, well, you still need a car, so it's really your loss. When you learn to do this while you're in your living room, you'll understand I don't need to walk away ever because I'm in control. No one's going to waste my time. And this only comes from mastering the science of shopping from home. That's why my new digital book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. Go get your copy for 75% off. Use it. Everything is in there, from high mileage driving strategies to leasing to giving you a video to help you understand leasing. Some of you are like, Deshone, I was taught all my life never to lease. If that's you, type me. What you're going to see is I link you to a video from the Cars from Home library where I actually break down for you leasing versus buying. So by the numbers, so you can understand. Some of you, that's what it's going to take. You've been programmed so bad about leasing, you need to see it by the numbers to understand that this is costing me money, not understanding this. So that's in there. Purchasing, high mileage driving strategies, links for people with bad credit, and how you're going to get your cars even with bad credit. It's all in there. Get your copy for 75% off for the next 30 minutes. Once the timer expires, it goes back to $97. And win. Use it and win. Listen, we're an hour and 15 minutes in. We want to keep these broadcasts, these episodes. It's episode 1. If you are subscribed to my email list, you'll know when we're live. You'll know when we'll be doing these shows, and you can hop on with us. We want to do, because you see all the questions. The only way I could get through all the questions is by giving y'all little short, little one-word answers. What is that going to really do for you? So yeah, we might only get through 15, 18 questions because I'm giving you the thorough answer. And when you see that a car is the second most expensive purchase behind a house, you'll appreciate the thorough answer. No one's going to buy a house and ask about financial literacy and expect a one-word answer. So we shouldn't do it with cars. We're going to buy more cars than houses. So get your book, y'all. We will be back. We'll be back for another episode very soon. If you're on my email list, you'll know. And I appreciate everybody for tapping in. This is episode 1. We got a lot more coming, and we're going to keep dropping these jewels. Keep unlearning, keep relearning. For the people that got the book, thank you. And for the people who continue to help share this message, appreciate you. We'll see you on the next one.
The worst possible thing you could say when you walk into a car dealership. I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and the worst thing a person could say when they walk in is, if you could just get me to this payment, we got a deal.
So your loan's probably still like 19, which means you got to pay to get out. You're upside down. It's called negative equity.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome. How's audio? Give me a 1 if audio's clear. Welcome back to Car Shopping Questions and Answers. This is episode 2. I'm your host, Deshone the Auto Advisor. We do these live shows to make sure you know the secrets, the science of car shopping online the right way, and know where the hidden money is. I spent 14 years in the car business with Mercedes, General Motors, and 4 years running my own brokerage, and now the mission is to make you smarter, make you better, help you pay less than everyone else for cars in less time shopping from home. So this whole show is sponsored by my new digital book. It's called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. And you can get your copy for the next 30 minutes at 75% off in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, or you can click deshonsbook.com or scan the QR code. So type your questions in, Dolan, shoot the first one up. We're going to be taking them from all platforms. And if y'all could start tapping that screen on TikTok to shoot those likes up, I appreciate it. So this one's from Instagram. Does it make sense to buy a car from another state to get a better price for the car? Great question. When you start shopping and getting multiple offers, you're going to see most of your best deals are going to come from dealers far away. Not always, but a lot of times the dealers that you've been buying from, they think they own you. They look at your zip code and they program people to come in. The average person shops 1.2, I think it's less than 3 dealers. So when car dealers know you only are going to shop 2 dealers, then they know they can control you, and they know they don't really have to be as aggressive. Now, when you start sitting at home, like I want you to do, and start letting those offers come to you and start looking at car dealers, like start looking at all the inventory and getting multiple offers, you're going to find most times your best deal's 45 minutes away. Your best deal's an hour and 20 minutes away, because those people are trying to beat their competition. So you're going to find, you get used to that. You're going to step out of the local business and you'll get used to actually getting your best deal. Here's the saying. We'll wrap this question up with this saying. You buy your car from who makes you the best offer, AKA who wins the bid. If you're new here, we make people bid for our business. The more time you spend with me, you'll never negotiate again. You'll start making people bid. And the second part of it is you service your car where it's the most convenient. You service your car where it's the most convenient. You buy your car from who makes you the best offer. All right. Great question. Shoot the next one in, Dolan. Everybody keep typing your questions. I see you. I see you on TikTok. We're going to bring questions in from every platform. Go ahead. This one's from Instagram. Should you buy a car from a rental car sales place like Enterprise or Hertz? First of all, that would be low on my list. They'd have to, and look, I'm not telling you anything's wrong with that. What I'm telling you is that should be low on the list. When we're looking for used cars, rental cars should be low, and they got to be better priced than the cars that are not rentals. So I'm not going to Enterprise looking for what they have. I'm going on market. We use 8 marketplaces, y'all. When we shop for used cars, I have something called the multiple marketplace strategy. Multiple marketplace strategy is like it's you going everywhere, looking everywhere that used cars are. Example, if you were buying a TV, would you walk into Walmart and just say, all right, let me just look at this TV y'all got. All right, y'all want $1,000 for it? No, you would be online looking at Walmart.com, right? Amazon, Best Buy, and any other website with a TV, right? Type right if that's the way you would shop. You'd look at someone who just walked into Walmart and say, why are you shopping like that? You see, so we bring the same things to car shopping. Same things. You're going to stay at home and you're going to go on these websites. CarMax is in the running. Carvana's in the running. None of these people we buy from exclusively, they must win the what? Let's go. Type fast. I want to see y'all typing. I want to have this conversation with y'all, but you got to type fast. They must win the bid. So CarMax is there. Driveway is there. Carvana's there. Cars.com is there. Auto Trader is there. Car Gurus is there. We even look at eBay Motors. So everywhere they're shopping, they're putting inventory. That's where we're looking. Now, if a rental car place has their inventory listed there, then they're in the runnings. If they have their inventory listed on their little website and they just want to sell local people these cars, no, we're not interested. We're not interested. Great question. Go ahead. Go to the next one, Dolan. This one's from TikTok. Is an extended warranty worth it if you buy your lease? I don't get why so many people are buying their leases. Make it make sense to me. Used cars. If you're not, see, we're finding that a lot of people buying their leases because they actually don't know how to shop. So when you look at the deals that we get, you in the last broadcast I showed you Freena. You've seen Greg, $527 a month, $56,000 Kia EV6. You've seen Taupe, $690 a month. She leased her car, $690 a month, $54,000 BMW. Now I know y'all are looking like there's no money down on these particular deals, and saying, oh well, if everybody's putting, if these don't look like the deals I see on the commercial, that's because they're not. You're not going to get great deals looking at commercials. Ignore commercials. But we found that people are buying their leases because they don't know how to shop. And that's not a reason to buy your lease. Because what you're doing when you buy your lease is you're buying a used car. Now, let's just say you're buying this car and you're keeping it. Because sometimes you say you want to keep the car. 8 years, I have something called the 8-year rule. We do not buy a car unless we're keeping it for 8 years. Why? What's the reason? Because the depreciation is going to ruin you. So when you look at somebody like Taupe's paying $690 for a $54,000 car. Every $5,000 a month, every $5,000 that you borrow on a loan is about $100 a month. Depends on the interest rate for a 5-year loan. 5-year loan. That car would cost somebody about $1,100 a month. She's paying $690. See what I'm saying? So when you look at the fact that that's probably what a used BMW payment would cost her, but she's driving a new one for that. So if we're not keeping our cars 8 years, this should be your mission. Shopping for a deal like this, not buying a used car that you've already been leasing for 3 years, and now you're about to put a loan on it for 5 or 6 years for the balance. Does that make sense? We are not tying up our time in cars It's only two purposes. I'm going to get a great lease deal, or I'm going to buy a car I'm going to keep for 8, 9, 10, 12 years. That's it. I want to get you from being stuck in the middle. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. People stuck in the middle lose money. Long-term buyers don't lose money. Great lease deals don't lose money. It's those people, if you're stuck in the middle, you're the one losing the most money, and we got to get you from being stuck. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one and keep typing your questions, y'all. All right. This one's from Instagram. We purchased a car just under a year ago. Would like to release it and get something more suitable. Okay. Watch this. When you purchase a car, see, I'm always going to remind you of the unseen expense. When you see this, y'all know, if you've been on the show, if this is your first time on the show with me, type a 1 in the comment. Because I got to see if I'm refreshing people or if I'm actually teaching. First time. I don't want to say, if you're familiar with this, then you know this, when everybody on here, or most of you on here, are brand new. Okay, Susan, I see you. Justin, I see you. First time people, first time. Jay Malav, I see you. Okay, Sean, Go Entertainment, I see you. William, I see you. Christy, I see you. Okay, a lot of first time people on here. All right, so whenever you see me do this, picture, this is the unseen expense, depreciation. Let's explain this real quick. When you buy a car today for $30,000, what's that car worth tomorrow? For those of you who knew, you may not know, we got to type fast because I don't just talk at you, we have a dialogue. What's a car worth today? You buy a car today, what's it worth tomorrow? You bought it for $30,000, what's it worth tomorrow? Let's go. Could y'all keep tapping the screen on TikTok? Keep running those likes up, I appreciate it. As y'all tap that screen, y'all let TikTok know we having serious conversation over here and more people need to be here. Just keep tapping that screen, running those up. I appreciate y'all. Okay, so we got 29. That's not true, Sean Go Entertainment. But I want to let you know, you may have said that, but when you see the other answers, you'll understand. You buy a car today for 30, it is not worth 29 tomorrow. You lose about $3,000, $4,000 if you tried to go back and change that car. So this is answering this person's question who purchased a car just a year ago and would like to go and replace that car. $26,000, $24,000, $25,000. Depends on what the new market is. Depends on what this, but yes, you're going to lose probably 20% of the value in a day. In a day. In a year, you don't drive that car a year, you probably lose total of 20%. That's what you have to understand. You got to understand this car's value. I don't care what your payment is. Payment doesn't change the value of the asset. See, you've been taught, look at the payment. Get me out of this car, get me into this payment. That's why in the intro, some of you saw that video, the worst thing you could do in a car dealership. That video is really what introduced me to the world and letting people know payments can be manipulated, and we don't focus on payments. We want to focus on the asset, the value of the asset. So if you're buying a car, it's going down in value like this, whether you drive it or not. I give you a car today worth 30, you don't drive it 1 mile. Don't drive it 1 mile. I come up to you, I say, hey, Christy, I'm giving you this car, it's $30,000. Deshone, I don't need a car, I already have one. Yeah, but it's yours. Okay, I guess, but I can't drive it. All right, no problem. I come back a year later, you didn't drive that car 1 mile. Is it worth $30,000? Is it worth $30,000, y'all? Type fast. No. That's your intro to depreciation. So if you know that that car is going down in value, whether I drive it or not, what's happening when I drive it 12,000 miles? More, it's less, it's worth less, right? What's happening when I drive it 20,000 miles? It's worth less, right? Exactly. So you want to be aware of the depreciation, it's the unseen expense. So how the heck do we avoid the depreciation hit? One, you don't buy cars and replace them when they're losing the most value. You don't replace a car when it's losing its most value. Now, here's how you avoid the depreciation. You're going to keep long term. When you keep long-term, so who has a car outside right now? You've had it for at least 8 years. Type me in the comments. If you have a car not at least 8 years, type me in the comments. Now watch this. I see you, Simply Cam. Okay, I see you, Rob. 9. Okay, I see you, William. I see you, Jay Malone. Okay, could everybody hit that share button if you're getting value out of what we're doing? If you've been on a broadcast, this is what we do. No one's having these conversations with you. Share, because your friend will be mad if they find out you've been listening to me, using this stuff, saving money, and you didn't tell them, and they out here getting killed. Tag one friend, they'll thank you. When you consider the fact that those of you who are on here who said, Deshone, I got a car out there, I've had it for 9 years, 10 years, a year from now, that car is going to be worth about what it's worth today. That means you won. That's the long-term purchase. That's the keeper. You got to ask yourself, step one in my book. Step one in my book is the most important question. My book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps of Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. It's a digital book because I update it as the market changes. 7 steps. Everything I'm going to teach you is out of those 7 steps. The first one is the most important question, which is, how many years are you keeping the car? If your answer is 8, then I created something called the 8-year rule. You should be buying your cars because your goal is to get to the point where you're like these people that I just asked. The book is in my TikTok bio. Somebody said, where can you get the book? It's in my TikTok bio, 75% off for 30 minutes, which normally $97, but for everybody on here, you can get it for 75% off for 30 minutes in my TikTok or my Instagram bio, or you can go to deshonesbook.com in the comment section, or you can scan the QR code if you're watching us on TV. So you have to really focus, unseen expense. See, why do I have to spend more time educating you on the unseen expense? Because it's the unseen expense. When you just said, when you just did this math with me and said, Dad, I'm losing money, and I haven't been trained to see the money I'm losing. That's why you'll go buy a car and replace it in a year, because they're switching your payments. They're not switching. They're not telling you the fact you lost $7,000 of value. They're just going to manipulate the loan, put you on a car payment you can afford, and get you to sign off on it. We're done. You're going to understand these numbers because cash buyers would never do this. Cash buyers, if you paid 30 for a car and you came back in 2 months and they said, look, we can only give you 24. You wouldn't do the deal. But payment buyers, you're the one they fool. You're the one who can't see the money. And that's why I have to teach you to see this. So this is where you want to be. Either I'm going to keep my car 8 years. Now, some of you said, well, Deshone, I'll buy used, so I don't have to take that depreciation. But I'm going to tell you something. Buying used is not going to, when you compare, that's not the solution. Buying used or new is for long-term people. 8+ years. Buy new if you can afford to buy new. Buy used if you want to knock 20, 30, 40, 50% off your purchase price and you don't need the latest and greatest. Doesn't change that if you're buying, you should be a long-term person. If you are not an 8-year person, you should be shopping for great lease deals. And I'm going to tell you why. Look at Danielle. Look at Danielle. Danielle leased an Audi, $44,000 fee. And I'm explaining to y'all why you've been taught, well, I'm going to buy used, so I ain't going to take that type of hit. But I'm going to tell you, I'm explaining something to you real quick on how that's not the answer. Leasing is the answer. She leased an Audi A3, $44,000 vehicle. She's paying $550 a month, and she gave her first payment. She said, with her first payment down. Now we're going to not use down payment anymore as a term. We're going to start saying total out of pocket. We want to eliminate down payment. Down payments can be flipped up. Sometimes you say, I'm going to put money down. They don't include your tax. So we like to use total out of pocket. But she gave him $550. She drove off. That vehicle, she's driving a brand new A3. Now I want you to picture this. Danielle pulls up to somebody who's driving the same exact car, but they bought it. Every $5,000, some of you know, is about how much a month. I talked about it a little while ago. Some of you might have seen the video where I said it. Every $5,000 on a purchase on a loan is about how much per month. Let's see if anybody knows. Okay. I can't wait too long. We got to type that $100. And again, I can't sit here and act like most of y'all aren't new to me. So I'm not going to assume you have even seen any of my previous broadcasts. So I'm just going to tell you the answers. Yes, Susan, $100. So it depends on the interest rate. 5-year loan, that vehicle right there, $44,000 will cost somebody about $950 a month. You see why we don't have to wonder why people have $1,000 car payments? It's not that hard to see. They're buying their cars. So now Danielle pulls up in her Audi. Let's stay with the scenario, right? Danielle pulls up in her Audi, 44. She's paying $550 a month. Somebody next to her pulls up in the same exact Audi, same exact car. They're paying $950 a month. Now, third person says, I buy a used one. And you can replace the Audi with anything. Doesn't matter. You could be a Rolls Royce. The scenarios are not going to change. Could be a Honda Accord. Somebody pulls up and they bought a used one. So instead of 44, let's say they got a good price on one. Say they bought one for about 28, 29. Found a good price one, 3 years old. So they're pulling up in a 3-year-old one. And what I just said, every $5,000 is $100 a month. So what's their car payment if they paid 29? Almost 600. You see what I'm, so now let's just talk about what we're driving and what's coming out of our household so we can hammer this home. I'm not on the fence about leasing versus buying. And you have to get off the fence. We've seen enough scenarios where we know this is the case. One person, Danielle, got a great lease deal. She's paying $550 a month. Another person buying a brand new one, they're paying $950 a month. And they might take a longer loan. Oh, Deshone, I'm paying less. They might take a 6-year loan, and let's say they're paying $850. And then another person is driving a used one, and they're paying $600 a month. Not even a question. It's not even a question. Do y'all see what I'm talking about? 3 people driving the same car. Look at the differences. So depreciation and resale value is what you need to be aware of. These people think they win. That might have been you, Deshone. I'm the type, I bought my used cars and I keep switching them. Now, those 2 people who bought them, if they were keeping them 9, 10 years, that's a different story. It always goes back to the 8-year rule. Okay? You must understand, if I'm keeping 8 years or longer, I buy. If I'm not keeping 8 years, I shop for great lease deals. Not even a question. And you'll be mad. You're going to be mad when you find out how much money you've been missing. Some of you probably getting mad now. Dad, I was always taught don't lease. Well, those people owe you some money. Those people owe you some money because they've cost you thousands of dollars. Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. TikTok, does my credit have to be top notch to purchase automobiles with 0 down? No, it doesn't. It needs to, listen, when you are, hang on 1 second, y'all. Hang on 1 second. When you are buying vehicles with no money down, it's not a favor. It's not a favor. There's only 2 people who can't get vehicles with no money down. And that's people who are trying to borrow too much money, usually have negative equity that they're trying to roll over, and people who have, your credit is too bad and you can't get financing. But if you go through a company like Limbuzz, this is who we recommend in my book. I recommend this company, Limbuzz, who will work with people with challenged credit, then you won't have to deal with that. The whole point is controlling your own financing. You want to control your own financing. Now, we don't do that by getting pre-approvals. We do that by getting multiple bids. We do that by finding our car and then letting banks bid. I know you may have heard, I don't want any hard inquiries. You don't want hard inquiries until after you found your car. Once you actually find your car, It's okay to get multiple banks to give you a hard inquiry, and they allow this. Experian has an article where they talk about the rate window. You can actually have multiple people run your credit in a short period of time, but no money down is not a favor. It's not something you did me a favor. It's definitely not a deal. See, because if I gave you a car, it's worth $50,000, but I charge you $60,000 for it, and then I say, well, you don't have to do no money down. Is that a deal? I gave you a car, it's worth 50, but I charged you 60, but it's no money down. No, absolutely not. So no money down has nothing to do with a deal. The only people who can't get no money down are people who it's usually a case of you have too much negative equity. You're bringing over from your old car, and you're messing up the loan to value ratios. That's usually the cause, because a bank won't let you finance $40,000 on a car that's worth 30. They won't let it. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. This one's from YouTube. Deshone, so does it make sense to get a car to have over? Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. This is all you should be doing. If you are a long-term person, listen, whose car is a keeper outside? You have a car outside, you've had it for 8+ years. Outside. This is exactly the goal. This is the goal. You want to actually be planning on that. Because when you actually have your car for more than 8 years, when you know you're going to keep your car for more than 8 years, you do things to make sure, like we do a longevity check. This is step 4 in my book. One of the things we do when we know we're buying a car we're going to keep, we got to go to Google and we got to see what the data is on the car we're shopping for. It's very simple. I type in the year of the car. Very important. You can't just type in Nissan Sentra, longevity. You got to type in the year. And then you're going to type longevity to see what the actual, data says on the car. We skim those websites. It'll tell us if the car has transmission issues. It'll tell us if people report that this car has, is reported to last not as long as most cars. So these are the things that we do when we know we're keeping a car 8 years. But if you're not thinking about this, then you're not going to do the things to guarantee, because you could have a goal to keep a car 8 years, and then the car you bought is not known for lasting that long, or is not known for, being reliable at 8 years. So that's why it's the most important question right up front. It's not just for leasing versus buying. It's for programming yourself that this is a long-term thing. I want to make sure I get the right car. I'm not going to get a car that doesn't satisfy my needs and my wants when I know I'm keeping it a decade. You understand? That's the whole thing. But absolutely, plenty of people on here keep cars more than 8 years. But there's plenty of people who don't. Those are the ones who need to stop buying and start leasing. This one's from YouTube. So question, if a person is almost done paying the loan, is it smart to sell it? Wait, hold on. I want to read this right. So if a person is almost done paying the loan, is it smart to sell it and buy new or keep? No, I wouldn't plan on we're mixed in the middle. How many years do you want to keep the car? How many years do you want to keep the car? If you're not keeping, it sounds to me like you're actually not a long-term person. And you should be leasing to begin with, because I used to get people who would walk into the dealership and they would say, hey, Deshone, is that the brand new one right there? That's the new model? And I'm like, yeah, that's the new one, just came out. And they would say, okay, I got 2 more payments left, then I'm coming back to get that one. So what they were doing was paying off one car, waiting for the title. Literally, they just paid off a whole car, 5-6 year loan. And now they're about to start another loan. It is throwing money out the window. You could actually keep more money if you just opened up your window and threw thousands of dollars out. You would actually lose less money doing that than buying and paying off these cars and then going and starting new loans, because again, the depreciation is killing you. When you start getting replaced, that same mindset, and you start saying, okay, I'm okay having a payment, because that's usually what's happening. I have a payment, pay the car off, go start another payment. Once you realize that I'm cool with that, but I want a better car and I want to pay less, then you'll be leasing. So I would tell you, it sounds like you're not an 8-year person, you're not a long-term person, and you should start shopping for leases, and you're going to save hundreds of dollars every month, and you'll have better cars because you don't have to drive cars that are out of warranty and be on your own. Okay? Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. All of this is out of my new book, y'all. Everything you will ever hear me teach. Some of you have watched my watch my social media videos. All of it is based on a formula and a system I created for car shopping. It's a 7-step system for car shopping online. That's why my book is called Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. You can all get your copy. You can get your copy for 75% off for the next 30 minutes in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio. It'll be in your inbox. You can use it immediately. And not only immediately, you use it for the rest of your life. Because the reason it's a digital book is because I update the book regularly. Anything changes, I update the book. We used to have Vroom in our, Vroom was in our strategy. They used to get bids. We used to get bids from them. They went out of business a couple months ago. I went right in, I updated the book. I didn't have to say to everybody, hey, guys, you got to get volume 2 of my book because Vroom's no longer there. So a digital book allows me to continually update and keep things fresh. So you can get your copy for 75% off in the comment section. Or you can go to my TikTok bio or Instagram bio. 30 minutes, then the price goes back to $97. Eric Pitts, this one's from TikTok. Can I use the bidding to refinance a car loan? I have good credit now. 100%. 100%. They give you a window. Now, you should only need 2 days, tops. You Google every single, and let's talk about refinancing. Let as many people bid as possible. You got a window of 14 to 45 days. You'll be way under that. It'll weigh as 1 inquiry when you finalize the loan. It'll weigh on your credit score as 1 inquiry. But you must do it because, y'all, why do you think there's companies that just want to loan us money? The money business is very lucrative. There's companies and banks and credit unions that only want to loan us money. They don't sell cars. That should be a hint. There's a lot of money in lending. So what we need to do is take shopping our loan rates seriously. We separate our transactions. So listen, let's stay focused here. You're going to now call your bank. You'll either go on their website, your credit union, or go on their website. You're going to look for online lenders. Go on their website. You want as many people as possible competing to make sure you save all the money. But I'm going to give you a very important caveat here that you want to keep in mind. Everyone that loans you money wants to loan you more for longer. The longer you have a loan, the more money they make. So what they're going to do is they're going to show you what it looks like if you take a long loan. You've already paid for a year or 2. I don't know how long, but you've already been paying for some time. Once you take another long loan, now you've essentially defeated a little bit of your purposes because you're going to give some of that money back at interest. Take the shortest loan that you can afford the payment on with the new interest rate. So if you were paying, let's say you had a 6-year loan at 11%. When you refinance, don't refinance into another 6-year loan at 7%. Refinance into like a 4-year loan at 7%. Whatever that payment is that you say, all right, I could afford that payment. Because they're going to try to sell you on the low pay. Well, if you do 6 years, you could pay $300. Yeah, but you can always pay it off earlier. Don't fall for that. You want to make sure you look at what's the lowest, shortest term with that new interest rate so you can get that loan out of there faster. Okay? That's how you do it. Good question. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. All right, so this one's from YouTube. Milton. So back in 22, I purchased my dream truck. 2023 GMC Denali, brand new. I don't depend on trading it, and my monthly payment's $1,095. Let's not forget the truck is $83K. Am I paying too much money? Well, I don't know how long the loan is. So you could be paying $1,095 for 8 years. You could be paying $1,095 for 5 years. You see what I'm saying? So that's why payments are not always the important payments. How much did you pay for the truck? You understand? See. It's the price of the vehicle that we focus on, not with leasing. I don't want to see what you got to be. And this is why I want you to have my book, or you got to be locked into what I'm saying, because I'm talking to a lot of different people on here, and your scenario is not another person's scenario. So you can't hear what I'm saying when I'm talking to Milton about purchasing and think, well, I'm shopping for a lease. He said, don't focus on payment. No, different. Okay. So when we're talking about purchasing, the most important thing is how much we paid for the asset. Now, I don't know what you paid, and I don't know how well you shopped. I don't know. So there's no way. And here's the thing. The way we buy cars is by design. We don't know. When you start getting bids and it's done, I'm going to just assume, let's just say, I'm not going to look at your deal and dissect it, because I don't have enough information to do that. And plus, if the deal wasn't good, what good is it me what good is me? It's your dream truck. What good is it me? I mean, what good am I going to do telling you overpaid for it anyway? So let's not ask questions that could lead to hurt feelings and long-term remorse for our dream truck. But for the rest of you who are shopping, and for the future, because Milton, your family's going to shop, you're going to shop again in the future. The way you've been taught to shop guarantees you never have price assurance. Price assurance means I don't have to ever ask if I could have paid less, because I got bids. Negotiator. If you're not a good negotiator, type me in the comment section right now. Deshone, I'm not a good negotiator. I hate it. I don't like it. I'm an introvert. It's not for me. I feel like I always get the losing end of the stick. I just feel like, people take advantage of me. I'm too soft-spoken. Whatever reason. All right, Susan, I see you. All right, Christoph, I see you. All right, Jay, I see you. Okay, so when we look at negotiate, I'm a good negotiator. I did it for a living. But one thing I know about negotiating, why I will never shop this way, and I don't want you shopping this way, is because you cannot get price assurance. You can't guarantee you pay the least price when you're negotiating one-to-one. When you go into the supermarket and you see you're getting spaghetti sauce, there's 7-10 companies trying to sell you spaghetti sauce. They're all like, hey, hit me this week, Prego, I'm on sale. Vitellini, I'm on sale. Hey, Ragu, it's they're competing. Everyone competes for our business except car dealers. Everyone wants to compete. So the reason why we can spend money on these other items and we never have buyer's remorse is because we've seen so many options. Y'all get it? We've seen so many options. I knew I didn't overpay. If I told you right now you got to go buy a 100-inch TV and you got to guarantee you don't overpay for it, you're going to be like, Deshone, I can do that. Why? Because you know where to go. I'm going on this website. I'm going on this website. I'm going on this website. I'm going to guarantee I get the best price on the TV. I'm telling you, bring that same thing to your car shopping. That'll eliminate your buyer's remorse. That'll eliminate you ever asking, did I get a good deal on this? Hey, did I overpay for this? Hey, could I save more money on this? Get multiple offers eliminates it. And there's no other way to eliminate it. Okay? So don't worry. I'm sure you did well, Milton. Enjoy your truck, man. And just know that whatever, I'm going to get better for next time. I'm going to make sure my family knows that they never got to ask this question. Every vehicle I buy, I'm going to make sure that I get bids, multiple dealers. I'm going to get enough bids to guarantee that I teach to get 5. In my book, I have a strategy, 25 to 5 shopping strategy. This is for new cars and leases. We connect with 25 dealers online. You're using all my scripts. You're using everything I tell you to type, copy and paste in my book. And you're going to get at least 5 offers, 5 to 7. Once you get those offers, you're going to see about $3,000 to $5,000 spread minimum. Now, if you take somebody like Kimberly, now Kimberly's spread was $20,000. This is Kimberly. She emailed me. She's in our private community in my private coaching program. She said, "How do I respond back to this? I don't want to get mad." She responded via email. You see, the MSRP on that vehicle was $86,961. She got a Maserati. Selling price was $66,261. $20,000 discount. This is why we don't get happy about any discount until we see all the offers. Because if she would have saw a $10,000 discount, Deshone, I'm saving 10 grand they're offering me. Okay. Is that the lowest bid? Well, no, I mean, but I just walked in, the dealer said they're going to give me 10 grand off. See how we could lose? We don't know what the bottom is, but when she gets her 5 to 7 offers, now she ends up saving 20 grand. It's different for every car, but if you don't get 5 to 7 offers, you won't truly know the bottom, and she's guaranteed. She has that price assurance. So we got to get bids. You could do it my way, which is the easy way, 60 minutes from home, using my scripts for new cars and leases. Different strategy for used cars, or you could do it your way, which is calling around, stay in your house, call, talk to some sales managers, get 5 bids. It's up to you, but you get my book for 75% off. Get your copy, 75% off in my TikTok bio, and you'll have all my scripts. You use them for the rest of your life. All right, go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. This one's from TikTok. It's 2024. What year should you be looking for if buying? Doesn't matter. You know, your question is new car or pre-owned car. If you're buying, that's a budget issue. In my book, I talk about something when you get to a values question, because some people, you can only get what you want and need in a pre-owned car for your budget. Some people, you can afford both. And you're like, Deshone, I got a budget. I could afford both. I could get a new one. I could get a used one. Which should I get? That's a values thing. Do you want it? Some people say, Deshone, I get a new car every 10 years. I mean, I only get a car every 10 years. I'm going to get a new one. Some people said, I don't, you know what? I'm going to knock 30% off the price. I'm going to get a pre-owned. It's up to you. But budget dictates usually whether you're going to get a new or used one. But, you know, I would get the best car for my budget if I could afford. Now, here's the key. Here's something very important. Some of you actually look for 1 or 2 year old vehicles. I'm going to tell you why this is the danger zone. You don't know if I don't know what the brand new price is. If you're looking for something 1 or 2 years old, then you should shop for a new one first. Why? You're typically not going to have enough inventory to look at to really get a good gauge. When you start seeing my stuff, you'll see, when you hear me talk about looking at options, multiple offers, multiple options, you'll see we're looking at lots of options very quick and making our decision. When you have only the only way dealers get pre-owned cars is someone trades it or they buy it off lease. And the average time, not many people buy a car and turn around and trade it in a year. So you're going to have a hard time finding a 1 year old car. You might not a lot. You'll find a lot of them. You won't find a lot of them. And when there's not a lot of them, what does that give us? What is the potential for it? Overcharge. If the dealer knows there's not a lot of them, I might overcharge you. Now, here's the problem. Here's why you must shop for a new one first. Let's say the brand new market on that vehicle is my best offer. I could save $5-6 grand. Let's use a vehicle that has like $6,000 in rebates and I end up saving 10 grand. If I could get a new one and save that kind of money, $40,000, and I end up buying it for 32, 33, whatever, 34. Now that's going to dictate the market, because some people will look at that 1 year old one for 32 and be like, okay, I like that price. That's a problem. That's a problem. Because why the heck would I buy a 1 year old one for 32 if the new market is I could get a new one for 34, $2,000 more, I get a brand new one. This only happens when we're looking at cars that are very new, 1 or 2 years old. If you're looking for a 3 year old one, there's going to usually be lots of options, lots of inventory. 4 years, lots of options, lots of inventory, and you don't have to worry about that. Cool G said you answered my question. That's typically what happens, because a lot of you in here, although there's a couple scenarios, a lot of you in here, you got to realize your scenario is not unique. You have thousands of other people who are in the same exact scenario as you. So if you stay on long enough, you'll usually hear somebody ask a similar question, or you'll usually hear me answer a question you would have asked. But yeah, that's the first thing I would say. Focus on, if you're buying a 1 or 2 year old one, you always shop new first. We got to know what the new market is to know what we should be saving on a 1 or 2 year old one. If you're buying 3 or 4 years old, then you don't have to worry about that. Go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. Instagram. I always think I get a good deal, but then I don't. Bids. You eliminate this with bids. Look, I wish I was coming into your life to tell you you're doing okay. The fact is, most people are not, because you don't have price assurance. And price assurance gives you when you don't have price assurance, you have potential for buyer's remorse. Aside from the car. And I know this. Look, I'm a nice guy. I consider myself to be a nice guy, but I'm in the bad news business, because I'm not meeting you telling you you're doing good and then, oh, you're doing so good, but I want to help you do better. I'm meeting you telling you that 99% of what you've learned about buying cars, leasing cars is wrong. And not only is it wrong, it's cost you thousands of dollars already. Now you get to decide from this day forward, are you going to change the trajectory of the finances that you pay for cars? You get to make that decision. But you got to admit you need help. You got to admit you're not doing as good as you would have hoped you were doing. And if there was 80 people out there teaching what I teach, then God bless, that would be a shame if you didn't tap into one of them. There's not. I'm one of the only ones that teach in this way. A lot of the stuff that I teach, I created it based on math and looking at thousands of scenarios, leasing scenarios, buying, people who buy their leases and creating and seeing where these people get jammed up. And now that information is available for you now. But in order for you to actually win, you have to admit that I need that. So if you think you're doing bad and you're like, yo, I'm done doing bad, this guy is here. He helps people. He's got proven track record. I got over 2 million followers on social media. I'm a very public person. We've been around for 3 years. If my stuff wasn't working, you would have heard it by now. But we have hundreds and hundreds of people, if not thousands, that have actually used what I teach to eliminate that statement you just made about, I think I got a good deal. You're going to sit at home, you're going to make people bid for your business, and you are going to know every single time that you paid the lowest price for the car, that you got the best interest rate, and that you got the most money for your old car. That is what we're going to do. All right, but you take the action. You could tap into live videos, or you could say, Deshone, I'm going to get your book. It's 75% off. It's a digital copy, which means anytime something updates, I update the book, and you got the new version, and you got all my strategies of how to car shop from home for the rest of your life. All right? I hate to see that, but I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. You see what I'm saying? I hate to see those messages, but I know I'm doing everything that God has put me here to do to stop those messages from coming. The rest is on you. All right? Go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. This one's from TikTok. I owe $20,000. Paid off interest, 6% APR. Do you recommend to refinance? Depends on how low you could get. You know, rates are pretty high right now, but you know, I mean, maybe you don't go through the hassle of refinancing to save, you know, half a point. You know, that's tough. If you can't save a good amount of money refinancing, can't drop your, but at the same time, money's money. So if I could save 1 point, that might save me $500 on my loan. You know, 1 point on my interest rate might save me $500. So You know, I wish it was a site that shopped. In fact, we you know, maybe in the future there will be. We're working on creating something like this where you actually can, you know, have these banks just automatically tell you through a soft credit approval what the rates would be, so you don't waste your time. But that's tough, especially because we're in a season right now where rates are high. So I mean, you might find out that you know, based on where rates are right now, that that's actually a pretty good rate. In which case, it wouldn't make sense to refinance. I wish it was easier. Trust me, some stuff I wish was easy. The products don't exist. The websites don't exist. So anytime y'all see me talk about stuff like that, like, it's because these things don't exist yet. And, you know, one day we hope to create them. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great question. Great questions today. Absolutely, Matt. Yes, it would be great. That's why we're working on creating it. Okay. Yep. Come on, keep typing. We got a good we got a good amount of time left. We're going we'll probably stay on for another 15-20 minutes or so. When is the next time? Oh, when is the best time to purchase a car? Eric, I'm grateful for this information. My pleasure. That's what I'm doing. And listen, shit, look, could y'all run the likes up on TikTok? Tap the screen. If you're getting value out of this, before we answer this question, if you are getting value out of what we're talking about right now, type a $. Type a $sign if you're getting value out of what we're talking about. Y'all gotta understand something. Your people are out there suffering. They're losing. Look, in a nice way, I'm telling you, and you are saying to yourself, the more you hear me talk, the more you're saying to yourself, Dad, I've been doing this thing a little. I've been doing this thing wrong. You were taught that. So you saying to yourself, if I haven't been doing half the stuff Deshone is talking about on this broadcast, I could only imagine how much money it's cost me. That's all going through your mind. That's fine. But you're in a place where you can now take action and change. Your friends are out there right now at car dealerships losing. This broadcast doesn't grow unless you tell them. Unless you tell your coworker, hey, you buying a car? Hey, you go to Deshone the Auto Advisor page. He does these live shows. Get your questions answered. This is where we have to get to. This is where we have to get to if we're going to really make a change besides, you know, changing our own bank accounts. That's the goal, but then we go and we help others. So I'm glad to see a lot of people getting value. All right, so let's do this. Let's answer this question. This one's TikTok. When is the best time to purchase a car? So this is marketing. Marketing wants to tell you there's a best time to come in. Now, imagine you own a business where the customers are so trained that they come in the same time every month, no matter what. That's the end of the month. So the car business has, through years and years of marketing, told you the end of the month, the end of the year, best time to buy a car. Imagine that. You got a barbershop and everyone knows end of the month come in, you just get a line out the door. But the fact is, there's no better deals being done that day than shopping multiple offers throughout the month. Here's why. They've told you, well, dealers want to make their numbers. Well, dealers are trying to make their numbers from day one. And when they see, we used to look up sometimes and we knew we had to do 250 cars for the month, 325 cars for the month. We look at the books, it's the 9th of the month, we only got 30 cars sold. What do you think is happening? We're getting a little nervous. We're not pacing to hit our numbers. Opposite end, I've seen months where we are ahead of schedule. What does that mean? We might hit our numbers on the 27th of the month, the 26th of the month. It doesn't matter. The best dealers are trying to hit their numbers throughout the month. So when it's the 9th of the month and no one's in the dealership and no one sold the car today and this daggone tumbleweeds going through the showroom and everyone's praying for a customer, what do you think happens when a person reaches out then and says, hey, I'm looking for a car? But marketing tells you otherwise. Marketing says no matter what, coming at the end of the month. So there is no best time to buy a car. Here's what I would tell you. There's a best time to be in the market. In my book, I teach something, and I always teach this: 2 dates. Your no later than date and your as soon as date. No, as soon as date is the soonest day you can accept a deal. The soonest date you can accept a deal, that we call that you're in the market. That's step 5 in my book. In the market, looking at offers on websites, ready to take an offer down if it looks good. If a bid comes in and it wins, we're in the market. We don't do that until we can accept an offer. Now, once that's done, once we've established our as soon as date, we need to ask ourselves, what is our no later than date? Your no later than date might be end of the year. You might be saying, I got a kid going to college. I got to get a car by the time they go in the fall. You might be saying, I get a car by end of this month. That's your no later than date. Now, the time in between those 2 dates, that's our leverage. Because this is how long you can say no. This is how long you can look at offers and say, no, sitting home, using the way I teach you, look at used cars, look at the used car market, look at the new car offers, look at the lease bid you're going to get, the quote you're going to get. No, you know what? I'll reach out next month to see what the programs are, because programs change every month. Used car trends change every month. So when you're in the market early, there's so many benefits. Car not coming for 6 weeks. I want a black car. It won't be here for 6 weeks. A person who's coming in the dealership today and they need a car today, they can't get that car. You can. So being in the market early allows you to establish contact with dealers. If you're shopping for a new car or lease, establish contact, get bids, look at offers, say, you know what, I'll follow up next month. It also allows you to be top of mind. When somebody's sitting in their car dealership and they're like, look, all right, y'all, we're behind on the numbers. Anybody who makes us a reasonable offer today, we're accepting it. Now, every salesperson goes and looks at who they've been talking to, who couldn't get them to buy with the first offers. They couldn't get them to buy when they was trying to take shots. Now they're like, okay, hey, look, hey, Chris, man, are you still in the market? Look, I could do that deal now. Hey, we need a deal. See, when you take advantage of what I'm telling you and you start to understand these 2 dates, that's in my book, and that you'll hear me talk about, you'll understand that sometimes our best deal doesn't come in the first month. When I was shopping for my mother's Mazda 3 years ago, when she got her lease, I entered the market in October. I was looking at the offers. I didn't like them. Next month, I looked at them again. Didn't like them. December came. Dealer I've been talking to said, hey, this is the new programs. Hey, I got this car. This is what I could do. We got a deal. Couldn't do that if I waited until December to come into the market. Couldn't do that if in October, I needed a deal. So there's no best time, in my opinion, to shop for a car because, as I said, beginning of the month could be a great deal. End of the month could be great. Beginning of the year, when you're talking to multiple dealers, somebody's going to say, I need to sell a car immediately. That's why we do this from home. But the best way to buy a car, in my opinion, is to know these 2 dates and to use that time in between those 2 dates as your leverage to say no. All right? Look, I can't give you short answers. Look, I'm a put that one up. We're going to go to that question now. We're going to go to this one on Instagram now. But understand, this is why we have been losing short answers for major 5-figure items. Got to give you the long version. Because once you learn it, once you see, this is repetitive. Once you get 1 car, 2 cars using the cars from home strategy, you're going to see See, that's why when the first time you use this stuff that's in my book, first time you use the car from home strategies, whether you're using them manually or whether you're like, Deshone, I want to use exactly what you say, your scripts, I want to do it your way. Doesn't matter. Once you see, I do this over and over. Your first deal might take you 90 minutes, 2 hours, because you're just learning which websites to go to. We don't go, if you don't see me say go to this website, don't go to it. It's a waste of time. But once you see, you're gonna be like, okay, rinse and repeat. You'll go from getting cars in 2 hours to 90 minutes from home to 60 minutes from home to me. I can get any car I want. I can find out the best deal in 45 minutes. Copy and paste. Copy and paste. My Infiniti truck I got took me, once we decided what we want, I spent no more than 60 minutes online to make sure I got that vehicle, saved 42% off the price when it was new, 3 years old. So this doesn't take you long. That old way that you were programmed to use, that takes you a long time. That's headache. This is 60 minutes from home. That's what I want for you. Go ahead, shoot the next one up. Shoot that Instagram question up, Dolan. All right, how do I get quotes from car dealerships to take with me to take in my lease? I will be leasing another car. This is without having a credit check run. Yep, we never need a credit check to get quotes. Now, some people will tell you that. Now, if you're at home, then you'll see when you're at home, there's a script that I use when a dealer says they don't do something, and we require all our customers to be here to get a quote. Okay, well, I'm talking to a couple dealers. No one else has said that. Should I remove you from the list? See what I'm saying? You're gonna see when you're using Deshone scripts, you saying what I would say. you see what I'm saying? So if you are in a dealership, I can't help you. I don't even want to even talk about that. I'm not going to tell you how to go, and it's like oil and water. Somebody called me back when I was first coming out the business and I was first starting this education business, and they said, Deshone, somebody told me to call you. I'm in this Toyota dealership, man. I'm trying to see how do I get the price down on this car? I said, get up and walk out. Get up and walk out. Because if you're in an 80% dealer, you can't, no matter how much they take off, you lose. The only way you're going to win is to sit at home. I can't tell you how to mix the old way of shopping where you have no leverage, where you have no price guarantees, where you leave, no matter what price you get, you always wonder, could I have done better? I can't tell you how to mix that with what I teach. But if you're willing to unlearn that and say, okay, that's what the car business taught me. That's what I learned it from my parents. That's what the car business taught my parents. But no, we're going to do this. I'm going to use what Deshone teach. This is a car salesman, 14 years. Now he's educating us from an insider standpoint. You come out of that and you sit at home and you call and you could do it manually. You could do it manually. I can't twist anybody's arm to get this book for $24. But if you're going to do it manually, realize there's people trained and you're going to talk to them, which means you got to be aware when you talk to them. That's why I say only ask for sales managers. Only ask for sales managers. Because if you try to do this with salespeople, some sales managers will make it hard, but you got a better shot. But you need to get 5 quotes. Doesn't change because 80% of dealers are overpriced. Now, my way, in my book, I teach something called the 25 to 5. It's all online. So we're contacting 25 dealers through their website, and we're having conversations with usually 7 to 10 of them, copy and paste scripts you're using, and you're keeping the conversation moving forward. Our first goal is to see who has a car I want. Before I even talk to you about anything, I want to see out of this 25 dealers who has a car I want. Second thing I'm going to do, once I identify who has a car, I'm going to request a quote. But I need to give them everything they need to quote me. I need to give them my zip code so they can run the tax. I need to give them what I do for a living to see if I qualify for any rebates. I need to give them what cars I have in my household, whether I own it, lease it, own it outright to see if I qualify for any rebates. I need to give them my my soon as date, my no later than date. This is all copy and paste in my book. So the reason why some of you have a hard time shopping online is because, one, you're dealing with trained people And two, you don't know what information to give so that they could even give you a quote. So if you're giving, so my book, you're using copy and paste, and we're never talking about credit. It's not even a question. In fact, one of the things we say in one of my templates is assume tier one. So we're assuming tier one, getting our offers, and then we are not letting anyone run our credit. This is not just for leases. This is for everything. No one is running our credit until after we've agreed to buy something. We're telling them assume tier one. If I don't qualify for tier one later, we'll talk about that later. But I want to see the price. Tier one, I want to see the price. And that's what we do. But never let, if you only way you'll fall for that is if you're in dealerships. Oh, I need to run your credit. You know we can't give you a quote. You run into the wrong salesman who don't care. He'll say anything. She'll say anything. Well, I just can't, we can't give you a quote. We don't know what you're going to qualify for. Yeah, you could assume tier one. Yeah, but we had people come in and say assume tier one and it just messed it up. So we like to not quote without a credit. You're in the wrong dealer. You see what I'm saying? These people are by design. We're trying to run them out of business. When more people, this is why we're trying to get this broadcast out. Because until more people start shopping online, they're going to continue to do that stuff. See, as more people shop online incorrectly and walk into dealers, they can get away with doing this stuff. But when they know 600 people are going to walk in their dealership over a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Monday, holiday weekend, President's Day, we're going to get 600 people walk in. Why would they change? Would you? Unless you're just a person of ethic, why would you, if you got a business where 600 people come in the door, why would you change? But when we start shopping online and that 600 goes down to 400, and then that 400 goes down to 200, and they see that we used to get 200 inquiries online, now we're getting 700 inquiries online. Now everything's gonna move to we gotta do this online thing properly, or we're not gonna sell cars. That's why the future of if you really want to enjoy car shopping, you need to tell friends about what we're doing. Because the more people that shop the old way, it hurts us that are shopping this way. Doesn't stop us from getting great deals. We just got to continually weed through these car dealers because they're like 80% of our people coming in shopping the old way. So, all right, go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great questions today. All right, this one's TikTok. I want to buy my sister's car lease after it's done in July. Is that possible? Nope. Your sister, I'm gonna tell you why. This is a common question. Some people want to buy, some people want to, buy their lease and give it to their family member. The family member can't buy it directly because only two people can buy a lease. When you buy your lease, there's only two things there's only two types of payoffs. A customer payoff, which is for the customer, and a dealer payoff, which a dealer could pay. That's it. There's not a third part. So what would happen is they would have to buy the car and then sell it to you. And if there's a loan on it, that's going to be, it's going to take a little time. It's not impossible. It's essentially a private sale. They're buying it, paying the loan, going to buy the lease out, and then they're going to write up a purchase order, and you're going to get a loan. You're going to have to get you're going to essentially have to get a private party loan to buy that vehicle from them, when you could just go and learn to get your own great deal on a used car. See, why, if it was easy, then go do it. No problem. Buy my sister lease. But if I just told you that it's not easy, it's a lot easier for you to just learn to get your own great used car deal, then that's what you should be doing, in my opinion. Because that other way, I just told you what it's going to take. All right? Go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. All right. Keep them coming. We got a couple more minutes. Let's go. When will you be live again so I can inform my people? Mike, we're working on getting a link in my bio where you could actually just go to that link and get a notification. You'll see it on a calendar. Hopefully we'll have that by the end of the week. And you'll be able to just be aware. Right now, only the people on my email list are going to be notified. But yeah, hopefully in the next about a week, hopefully in the next couple of days, we'll be able to have that. where you'll be able to see the calendar and join. All right, so just stay close. Stay close. This is all stuff we're optimizing day by day. Every day we're optimizing this, so just stay close. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Dolan. All right, TikTok. What if I buy at a lower interest rate with a longer term, but make extra payments monthly? I mean, if you have the discipline to do that, I think if you're at, I teach something called the rule of 72 and the 10th birthday. What does that mean? We don't take a loan longer than 72 months under any circumstances, and we have the car paid off by the 10th birthday. So we're not going to take a car that, give you an example, why does this rule exist? Because I've seen all the bad scenarios that I've seen, or most of them, exist when people have loans on a car that's older than 10 years, or they have a loan that's longer than 7 years, 8 years, And so when you typically have a car that is, you want to get to a point where the car is paid off so that you can put money to the side for incidental emergencies, repairs, maintenance. If it's 7 years down the line and you're still making a car payment, especially if you bought a used car, the car is, 11, 12 years old at this point, you typically could run into issues. And also, we don't have any, it's a lot of people on here. Would anybody on here take a 50-year mortgage? Would anybody on here take a 50-year mortgage? Anybody? No, I see. No volunteers for the 50-year mortgage, right? Why? Why? Because you already are aware. You see that? Every one of you said no way, nope. You already are aware that when it comes to home buying, there is a limit. You're trying to force this. You're trying to force yourself into this house if you got to take a 40-year mortgage. 40-year mortgages are available. 50-year mortgages are available. But we know it's inherent already that if we got to take a 40-year mortgage or 50-year mortgage, we can't afford that that house. We don't have that for cars, which is why I looked and I said, okay, super conservative people take a short loan, 3 years, 4 years. You typically, there's not enough data that proves that you need to take a loan that short to actually avoid problems. You pay a little more interest, 100%. So you always take the shortest loan you can afford, but I'm talking about problems with the vehicle. I'm not talking about interest. You got to combine what the nightmare stories is not, I paid on a car for 6 years and I paid that much interest, because interest can be fixed with refinancing. The nightmare story is my transmission's having problems and I still got 2 years of payments left on the car. Car's in the shop and I still got a payment. If you've been in that situation, you understand how car's in the shop right now, can't drive it, and that bank wants their payment every single month. We're trying to prevent that. And we're trying to prevent you getting to a point where you can't put enough money to the side to make sure if God forbid something happens to the car, you have the money, you have the cushion. So we use a safe marker, which is 6 years. But we combine that with the age of the vehicle, because I've seen people buy a car knowing they can't afford it, but they're buying an older one. Deshone, I want to get that BMW. Deshone, I want to get that Jeep, that new Jeep. Deshone, I want to get that whatever. Okay. But the one you want, in order to get it where you want it at, you got to take a 7-year-old one. 7-year-old one, you need to pay cash for that vehicle. Why? Because what you're going to do, if you tie a 6-year loan to that 7-year-old vehicle, now that vehicle's 13 years old before it's paid off. So when that transmission goes, or when things start happening because the vehicle's 9 years old, 3 years, now nightmare. So I had to create these boundaries. You don't have to use them. You can step over them. It's okay. But now you know there's boundaries. See, I'd rather you know. If you get my book, you get your copy, you get your book, Cars from Home, you'll see full of boundaries. Full of boundaries. Strategic moves, strategic shopping, ways to look at car. Okay, when I'm buying a used car, I need to make sure the Carfax look like this. I need to make sure that boundaries. You've never had them. So if you step over them now, at least you know you're stepping over a boundary. At least you know you're taking additional risk. See, if there's no speed limit, how do we know we're speeding? Once they put, speed limit 65. Okay, now I know when I step over that, I'm breaking a boundary. So this is what we are bringing to car shopping. Based on horrible circumstances that we're trying to help you avoid. Like buying a car and then it breaks down and you still have a loan on it. So that's the thing. Rule of 72 on the 10th birthday. We don't take a loan more than 6 years, and we have to have a car paid off by the 10th birthday. So if we're buying a 5-year-old car, we can take a 5-year loan. If we're buying a 6-year-old car, 4-year loan. If we're buying a 3-year-old car, then we can take a 6-year loan. Not a 7, because we're not going past 6 years. So we can't have the age of the car and the years of the loan be more than 10. That's going to create a lot less risk. Now you said, Deshone, I can't get the car that I want with a 6-year loan. I can't get the car that I want. That means in our minds, you can't afford the car. You can do what you want. But at this point, if you got to get a 7-year-old car and you got to put a 6-year loan on it, you can't afford that car. You can go do it because you're grown. You can do whatever you want, but you're taking a lot of risk. And that's all I want you to know. So if God forbid something happens, or if it doesn't happen, you're like, man, I made out. That was a little risky. But if something happens, you can say, Dad, took a little risk and I shouldn't have. You understand? All right. All right, we're an hour and 22 minutes in. You know we could go all day, y'all. I really want to continue to. All you guys are chatting with a video recording. Slade, you see what I'm saying? This is what I call confidently wrong. You know what I'm saying? Person comes in. You know look. How you feel, Slade? How you feel? All right, so look, y'all. We'll wrap it up. I will see y'all on the next one. Like I said, in the next couple days, we should have a link in the bio where you'll be able to see exactly when we're live. Jump on. But for those of you who just jumped on, everything that I teach, everything from my videos is all from my new book. It's a digital book. It's called Cars from Home: 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. No matter what your scenario is, it's broken down in 7 steps. Negative equity, high mileage drivers. You want to lease, you want to purchase. It's the same 7 steps. You just need to learn those 7 steps. And as you use it, you'll see you'll never go back to the old way. You'll never go back to the old way of shopping again. Once you start getting great deals in 60 minutes, 90 minutes from home, making people compete for your business, and you can get your copy for 75% off for 30 minutes. After that, it goes back up to $97. So you can go and you can actually click the link in my TikTok bio, grab your copy, or click the link in my Instagram bio, grab your copy, or you go to Deshone's book in the comment section, or scan the QR code. All right. I see Slade didn't comment. Slade, I wanted to see what you was gonna say, man. You ain't comment again, man. You know, I'm trying to probably dipped off, man. But anyway, I appreciate y'all. We will be back more for live, and I appreciate you. Tell your friends, go watch Deshone's live broadcast, because we want to peel back the curtain, man. We need y'all saving money. All right, let's keep unlearning, keep relearning. God bless you.
The worst possible thing you could say when you walk into a car dealership. I spent 5 years with Mercedes-Benz, 5 with General Motors, and the worst thing a person could say when they walk in is, if you could just get me to this payment, we got a deal.
So your loan's probably still like 19, which means you got to pay to get out. You're upside down. It's called negative equity.
Welcome to episode 3 of Car Shopping Questions and Answers. I'm your host, Deshone the Auto Advisor. I am the author of Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. I'm also the creator of the Cars from Home video library and the Cars from Home Insider Coaching Program. We do these shows at 12 Eastern Time and 3 Eastern Time live, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. So you can tell your friends that's when I'm live. We do rebroadcast these shows throughout the day. So if you miss them, you could always catch the rebroadcast. But we're live right now on all 4 platforms. If you're on YouTube, please hit the like button and subscribe if you want to continually get the best car shopping information from an insider. I left the car business in 2020 after 14 years. And now what I do is show you how to car shop strategically from home and how to get great deals in as quick as 60 to 90 minutes. So start typing your questions. I got my man. I see you, Just Blaze. Great to see you. I see you, Alexia. I see you, Jesse. Start typing your questions. We're going to have my man Dolan, who's moderating in the background. He's going to bring all these questions in from all 4 platforms. So, oh, by the way, the show is sponsored by my new digital book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. You can get your copy for 75% off as part of our launch in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio, or you can click the link, Deshone's book, or scan the QR code. Let's throw that QR code up for them, Dolan, so they can actually see it if they're watching on a television. And let's get down to business. We're going to be here for about an hour. I'm going to try to get through as many questions as I possibly can. So whenever we get the first one, Dolan, you can throw it up on the screen and let's get busy. Shout out to the sharers too. I appreciate everybody who tags friends and invites people to the broadcast. We really appreciate you. Is there a different approach for no trading? I have a very old used car. Absolutely. So you can skip that step. So many of you know that step 2 in my process is to do an equity assessment, but that's only if you're replacing a car. The reason why you must do an equity assessment is because sometimes you'll find out your car either has equity or if it's paid off, it's worth a couple $1,000s, in which case that goes into your budgeting. Now, you might put that money in your bank account and make your new car deal with no money out of pocket, or you might choose to apply a portion of that or all of that to your next transaction. But what I don't want you to ever do is wait until you get to the dealership that you're going to get the car from and then let them be your first offer on your current car. So if you don't have a car that you're replacing, then you would simply skip that step. You wouldn't skip step 1, which is the most important question. This is when you're asking yourself how many years you're going to keep the car. But you skip step 2, the equity assessment, because you don't have a car. Now, in your case, if you have a very old car, you still probably want to list that car on Facebook Marketplace because it's still worth something, unless you just want to keep it around your household. But if you don't have a car to replace, then you would simply skip to the budgeting step. And in which case, when you decide whether you're buying or leasing, you would be moving towards your budgeting, whether you're leasing and assessing how much the car you're going for should lease for, or whether you are purchasing and you are budgeting to see how much car you could afford based on whether you're going to pay cash or based on whether you're going to get your loan. So that's just a step you skip. Great question though. Okay, go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. Does MSRP include all of the dealer fees? No, it doesn't. MSRP on a new car. Could y'all keep running those likes up on TikTok? Welcome to the new people. Type your questions. We're live. It is like we're 100% live on Tuesday. So start typing your questions and we'll get to you guys. But start tapping the screen so we can shoot those likes up and let TikTok know that we're talking serious business over here. Thank y'all. I see y'all running them up. Okay. Does the MSRP include all dealer fees? So it depends on what dealer. Usually no, because 80% of dealers, as I say, we have about 8,000 people that we've worked with since 2021, between the people who've gotten my book and the people who've used the video library, the Cars from Home video library. We get people data from all around the country. And what we see is about 80% of dealers are overcharging you. whether they're not giving you the discounts that their competitors would give you, or whether they're marking the MSRP up with bogus fees that they will try to convince you need to pay if you want to buy from them. So the only way that if you're talking about, like, let's say I'm shopping for Toyota Highlander. When I'm looking at for example, let's say I'm shopping for a Toyota Highlander and I'm going to lease it. When I'm budgeting for a lease, our goal is to always assume about a 1.25% lease. So what I would do is I'd take that MSRP, let's say it's $48,000. I'd multiply that by 0.0125. That's going to be $600. $600 a month is what that vehicle should roundabout lease for when I find the best deal, which means one dealer beats all their competitors. And I'm not going to assume this to be the best deal, because we've had people who got 1% leases or 1.1% leases. We've also had people who get the best offer is going to be 1.4%. But what we're doing is we're using that middle portion. Some of you know 1.5 is the absolute max. You don't want to pay over 1.5. If I took that same vehicle, we'll do a lease scenario and then we'll do a purchase scenario. If you took 1.5 and you multiplied that by that same MSRP, now that's $720 a month. Above this, now we're paying too much for a vehicle we're going to be giving back. And the purpose of a lease is to avoid the natural depreciation that someone who's buying is going to take, and also to drive a lot of car for the money we're paying. So the lower percentage we pay relative to the MSRP, the better the deal. So everyone's going to charge different things. That's why we must get bids. We can't depend on a dealer who's going to say, oh, I'll honor the MSRP. And if I'm purchasing, then some dealers are going to not charge that same vehicle, that same $48,000 vehicle. Some dealers are going to charge $49,000 for it. Some dealers are going to charge $50,000 for it. Some dealers are going to charge $48,000 for it. And some dealers are going to charge less for it. We don't know who's who, which is why we must get bids. And part of what I teach is, and pretty much the gospel of what I teach is how to get bids online using dealers' websites so that we can sort for the best deal. We're not negotiating for the best deal. We are sorting. Good to see you, Yank. Even though you went a little left on the program yesterday, I saw you. But I'm here now. So go ahead, shoot the next question up, Dolan. Okay, this one's from YouTube. Brandon, I have good credit, but for some reason they always tell me I need a cosigner. How do I get around that? If you're purchasing, you want to control your financing first. So I wouldn't let the dealer tell. If you have good credit, what you should be doing is you should be purchasing your car, locking up your best deal, and then coming home. And this is for all of you. Who's going to be purchasing a car? Who's going to be purchasing? Now, if you're not keeping your car 8 years and you're new here, then you're going to find out that you should be leasing. But for the time period, I'm just going to base it off of what you know already. Who's going to be purchasing a car? Type me in the comments. Matter of fact, I need to see Instagram because I can't even see. I know, Dolan, you can see it, but I need to see Instagram as well. Hold on. While I'm doing this, y'all type if you're going to be purchasing. Okay, I see you, Brandon. All right, hold on one second. Let me get to Instagram. All right. Hold on, give me 1 second. All right, I can see Instagram now. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, here we go. So if you're going to be purchasing, let me mute that. Yeah, I see you. She's like, please see us. I see you, LA Connects. Now I can see you. Okay. So if you're going to be purchasing, then what you're going to be doing is actually getting you're going to get your car. Do not let anyone touch your credit. No, this is for all cars, Crows. Just stay put. We talk about new cars, leases, and used cars. Stay put. Like, we got lots of people on 4 platforms. So you never want to let anyone touch your credit until you have already found your car. This is the mistake that you make, because dealers are going to try to get you to commit to them. And when they try to get you to commit to them, you have to be sharp enough to know, under no circumstances are you running my credit before you win the bid. Now, if you're doing it my way, you're not even in the dealer. But once you find your car, you are going to lock that car up. You're going to get a purchase order, a buyer's order. That's that long form receipt saying your information, the car, the price you paid for it, and you're going to take that home now. And that's when you are going to now go online or go to your bank or your credit union's online website, and you are going to now do hard inquiries and let all of these people access your credit so that they can bid for your interest, for your loan. So we want to guarantee we don't pay more than we could have in interest in our loan. So you're going to bring that home. You're not going to let the dealer be your first option for financing. Once you do this, I call this the bank bidding war. Experian lets you do this. The credit bureaus let you do this. And once you do this, you're going to now get multiple bids, go to online. You want to be on Google, online lenders, everybody you can actually get in touch with, and everyone who bids, who does loans, let them have a shot at it. If you do this within the 2 days that I'm teaching you to do it, it's going to weigh on your credit like one hard inquiry. You'll see all the banks listed, but the effects on your score will be the same as one hard inquiry. This is called rate shopping. So you come on, you let them access. Now, as soon as you get the best offer, that's when you are now going to call the dealer who you have the car locked up with. And that's when you're going to say, hey, I got this offer. Now, if you can beat it, I'll give you the business. Okay, that's how you do it. That's how you guarantee. And if you look at that process, it'll work every single time. And your goal is to make sure you never leave any money on the table with a lender. And if you do that with the dealership first, you're going to leave money on the lender and on the table, and you're at their mercy. That's the bank bidding war. All right, go ahead, shoot, and feel free to ask any follow-up questions. Go ahead, Dolan, shoot the next one up. This one's from Instagram. How do I get out of negative equity? There's 3 ways. 2 of them lead to a car, 1 of them don't. First is you do an equity assessment. The equity assessment is when you call the bank, find out your payoff. Once you get your payoff, you're going to go to, this will take you 20 to 25 minutes to do. Everybody who has negative equity, focus on this right now. You're going to go to CarMax.com, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. Do not use KellyBlueBook.com. Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer. Our cars are only worth what someone's willing to cut us a check for. That's all they're worth. So these companies I'm giving you make you a cash offer. That's what we want. Kelly'sBlueBook.com. Instant Cash Offer. Car Guru, Sell My Car, and Auto Nation, Sell My Car. That's going to get you 6 offers. Now your best route to go is whatever your negative equity is based on those offers. If you can pay the difference, that's where you want to go. If your best offer is 21, but you owe 23, you want to pay that $2,000 and get out that car. Because the second route I'm about to tell you is going to give you a greater amount of negative equity. And then when you go to do this, you're going to see that you have less control. So your second route, if you can't pay the difference, is you must get the car from the dealer who actually you're buying the car from. You must give them your old car because you need them to wrap your loan. You need them to wrap that negative equity into your new car deal because you can't pay the difference. And 9 times out of 10, the car is not going to be worth to that dealer what it's worth to CarMax or Driveway or Carvana or one of these online bidders. So you'll find that your highest offer from the online bidders might be 21. Your highest offer from the dealer you're going to get your car from might be 19 because it's not worth that to them. So that's why I say plan A is pay the difference. Plan B is if you can't, you have to get your car from that dealer and ask them what to assess your car and see what it's worth to them, because you need them to build it in. Now, if your negative equity is too much, if you have too much negative equity, then you're going to have a problem getting out, because you're going to have you're going to mess up the loan to value ratio. You can't move 15 grand over on top of a $30,000 car and expect the bank to approve it. They're going to require you to put money, in which case you got to stay in that car. You either got to put the money down to get out, and if or you got to stay in that car and pay down that balance. Those are the only two ways. And the cause of negative equity is you don't understand leasing. 9 times out of 10, I've been doing this since 2006. 90% of you who have negative equity, the cause is you don't understand leasing. In the next 2 days, I'm going to do a leasing versus buying class on this show. So make sure you are tapped in so that you can understand how much not understanding leasing has cost you already, and you can stop listening to this bad advice about leasing. Okay? All right, y'all. Listen, I'm not seeing the shares. I'm going to be honest with y'all. Y'all know I keep it straight. I'm a straight shooter. I'm a straight shooter. We live right now, and we talking about financial information that no one in this world is talking to you about at this particular time. It's not 20 Deshone the Auto Advisors out there. Tag somebody, invite somebody. Don't be selfish, okay? That's the problem. What got us into this problem is selfish car dealers. So if we're going to solve this problem and help people, we need to all participate, and we need to be inviting people to this show so that our friends a year from now don't come to you and be like, damn, man, I got this horrible car deal, man. And now you know that you were sitting on this show talking about how to get your great car deal, but you're not telling friends. So shout out to the sharers. I appreciate y'all. All right, go ahead. Shoot the next question up, Dolan. I see you, LA Connects. Appreciate you. Let's go. When I see leases advertised on TV or radio, why do they always have thousands do a signing? Well, this is a similar question. All right, Steve Phillips asked a question from TikTok, and then I see Dreamer asks about advertised leases that she sees that always require thousands down. So you always tell people how to customize your lease. You do not go into a dealer. If you first of all, we only go into a dealer to test drive. If you're shopping for a new car or a lease, you should only be in the dealer for 20 to 30 minutes, and your only purpose to be there is to test drive or to pick up your car because they won the bid. This is what I teach. This is all in my book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealers. You can get your copy for 75% off in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio. It's a 7-step system for leasing, purchasing, new cars, used cars, everything. But part of this particular way, we shop. Shopping is not buying. And what the car business has taught you to do is mix the two into one. You go shopping to decide what you want. That's the purpose of shopping, y'all, to decide what you want. Deciding what you want is test driving, making sure your kids can fit in the car, making sure it has enough room, making sure it feels good. Once you decide what you want, now you're coming home and you are emailing them through their website, and you're going to request your offer. So you are not ever going to say, work me up a lease, Mr. Car Dealer. If you say work me up a lease, they're going to work you up a lease based on probably a couple thousand down, probably leave out the tax and the fees, and you're going to deal with that nightmare of traditional car shopping. You are always going to request your leases with no money down, zero. Now, I want y'all to remember this. We do not want to use this term anymore, down payment. We want to start using, remember this, and I want y'all to write it after I tell it to you. total out of pocket. Total out of pocket. Or you could put TOP. All right, everybody who's locked in, I want you to type TOP. Okay? Type TOP. I want to see the people that are locked in. If you've been in my master classes, we're about action here. We're not about casual nothing. No one's fighting for your money if you're not. No one, you're not going to casually save $5,000, $10,000 and avoid this if you're not locked in. Okay, type TOP. I see you, Dreamer. I see you, Daryl. I see you, Brittany. All right, I see you, Jay Boogs. All right, I see you, Patrice. I see you, Instagram. All right, Instagram and TikTok locked in. I don't see Facebook and YouTube locked in. I'm just telling y'all. I'm gonna start calling some of you out because you're not gonna win if you're not locked in. This is big money, and there's a $1 billion industry that is depending on you staying stuck in the old way you buy cars. So TOP, I see you. That's the term. No longer do you say down payment when you're talking to dealers. I see you, LaDonna. Way to represent Facebook. You are going to say total out of pocket because total out of pocket means, Mr. Dealer, this is the total amount I'm giving you. Down payment can be mixed up. Down payment can mean, oh, $2,000 down plus tax. $2,000. No, it's different than out the door. More. That's a different term. There is a place for out the door price, but in this particular case, we are using total out of pocket when we are contacting dealers to request our offers. First payment is the only thing we are putting out of pocket when we're getting lease offers. So we are getting, it does not mean we're not going to add additional money later, but it does mean for the offers that we're going to look at, I need my first month's payment out of pocket, and then you give me your offer. What that allows us to do is divide that monthly payment into the MSRP of the car and get that formula that I was talking about 10 minutes ago, that 1% formula, that 1.2%, that 1.5%. You can only work this with first month's payment out of pocket. So we dictate how we want the quotes. And if somebody says, hey, 2,000 down, you're still going to come back to them and say, hey, please resubmit the quote to me with only first month's payment total out of pocket. See, car dealers, we understand those terms. We know what total out of pocket means, but what we're depending on is that you don't understand what that means. The 80% of dealers are depending on the fact you don't understand what total out of pocket means, and they can just flip it up on you. So that's what we do. It's not about advertisements. Let me show y'all something before we move to the next question. Get the next question ready, Dolan. I'm going to show you a deal that somebody in the Cars from Home library made, somebody who uses my stuff. Don't shoot it up yet. Not yet, Dolan. Hold on. This is Charles. Charles got a Hyundai Palisade. $48,000 vehicle, $48,595. We always request our quotes with 12,000 miles per year, always. If you're going to do, Deshone, I do 18,000. Then you're going to adjust your mileage after you find your best deal. You're not going to do quotes for 18,000, always with 12. And then once we find our best deal, then we're adjusting. But Charles got $597 on a $48,000 vehicle. That's all he gave them, $597. So if he had depended on advertisements, he'd never get this deal. Hyundai Palisade like that, that's probably $597 with $3,000 out of pocket plus tax and fees. What am I trying to tell you by showing you this? Great deals are not advertised. Great deals are never going to be advertised. Great deals are made in the background. No one knows about them. Dealers don't even want to make them. They're sitting there saying, hey, listen, can you get them? They're talking to the salespeople. Hey, can you get them to come up a little more? Can you get them to pay another, $50 a month, $40 a month? Can you get anything out of them? No. All right, go make the deal. That is what a great deal is. Not something that you're going to see on commercials advertised to hundreds of thousands of people. So forget about commercials. Commercials are for people who don't mind overpaying. People who shop for deals the way I'm teaching you to shop, our deals are never going to be advertised. In fact, when you go pick up your car, they might tell you, listen, Listen, I'd love for you to send me some friends, but don't tell them what you're paying, because I can't duplicate this deal. This deal, I can't, I don't want to do a deal like that. So that's what we do. We customize our quotes. We don't let other people customize them. And you can do deals with no money down all day long. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great questions so far. Let's go. Keep the questions going. Let's go. Listen, right now, we got at least another 45 minutes. We're going to get through as many questions as possible. So let's go. This one's from Instagram. How can a person with not great credit get a good deal? You got to understand, if you don't have great credit, the only thing you should be overpaying for is interest. You got to separate your car from the loan. Your bad credit or your not perfect credit is between you and the person lending you money. Not between you and the dealer. Not between you and you're sitting around and you've been in a car dealer. Who's experienced this? Matter of fact, don't say if you've experienced this. But I know some of you have, and I know, millions of people have. You go in at 9 a.m. to the dealership, you find your car, you don't have great credit. Now you're sitting there and you're waiting for hours for them to get an approval. You see people driving out with their new cars. Some people saw you walk in with them at 9:30 a.m. They done left at 12, 1 o'clock with their car. You still there. This is mixing the car with the loan. We don't want to do that. You got to separate the car. So the car is one thing. That's why we always want to make sure we're getting the car at a great price. You shop independently. You use a company in my book, I recommend Limbuzz for people who don't have great credit. But Limbuzz is going to require you get a good deal on the car, because you can overpay for the car and then you can hurt your ability to get the loan because you're overpaying for the car. So you must make sure you are using strategy, shopping multiple offers. If you're shopping for a used car, we could talk about that depending on if somebody asked the question. If you're shopping for a new car, whatever you're shopping for, you must make sure that you find the dealer who's going to sell it to you lower than anyone else. Now, once you find that, you're going to independently have your financing. And if you don't have good credit right now, one of the companies I recommend is Limbuzz. And Limbuzz will usually approve people that a lot of people won't approve. They work with a lot of people who don't have good credit. And then your financing, if you pay 18% interest or 15% or whatever it's going to be, that's between you and the lender, not the dealer. Does that make sense? So we must separate our transactions if we're going to win. All right? We must separate. Go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. Oh, and one thing. Here we go. I need to purchase a car in less than 2 weeks. Trying to determine lease or purchase. Easy. Who wants to know beyond a shadow of a doubt whether they should lease a vehicle or purchase? Type me if you're just like, Deshone, I've heard this, I've heard that, but I really want to know what's best. All right, all right, I see you, Tavy. I see you, Veronica. I see you on TikTok. TikTok is commenting fast. I need Instagram. All right, I see you, Patrice. All right, I see you, The Well Life. Perfect. All right. TikTok and Instagram is on point. Facebook and YouTube, y'all got to type fast to keep your hands by your keyboards. All right, Terrence. Okay, so here is the determining factor. In my book, I teach 7 steps. To 7 steps. It doesn't matter. The first step is the most important question. The most important question, I want y'all to remember this. It's tied to something I created called the 8-year rule. The most important question is, and I want you to answer it, for everybody shopping for a car, or if you will be, how many years are you keeping your next car? This is the first thing you ask yourself. This is the first thing when your family is looking for a car, your son, your daughter, your spouse. The first thing you're asking yourself is, how many years am I keeping the next car? So answer that question. What you're going to see is You're now, if you're learning from me and you're going to use what I'm teaching you, it's going to be a system. We're not winging it anymore. We're not randomly shopping and doing things based on, all right, I think I should do this now. I think I should do this now. My book, all of this is in my book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealership. You can get yours for 75% off in my TikTok bio. It's normally $97, but for 30 minutes, you can get yours for 75% off. You go to my TikTok and Instagram bio. So I see you, Latasha, 5 to 6 years. Tavy, 5 to 6 years. All right, Crowsman, till the doors fall off. Okay, the well life, 6 or 7 years. Everybody answer that question. 8 to 10 years usually. I see you, Terrence. Brandon, Steph, 10 to 15 years. Okay, just bought the book. Hey, congratulations. Use it. Enjoy it and use it. Well life. You're gonna love it. And make sure you write me with your success stories. When you get your car, send me the deal. Congratulations. So 5 to 7 years. So now remember this. And don't try not to say something abstract. Like long as possible, that's too abstract. Like years. What's our goal? 8, 10, 15 till the deal till it doesn't drive anymore. Whatever. We want to get a clear picture. Here's why. This is going to be your first step from now on when you are car shopping. Asking yourself this question. We're still on the overall question, which is, should we lease or buy? That's the question we're on overall. Now I'm going to show y'all something that's going to help you understand why we asked this question first, and it's the depreciation scale. So I'm going to use this for you to understand. When you buy a car today, if I put a $30,000 car outside your house right now, if you didn't drive it, you don't drive it 1 mile, is that car worth $30,000 a year from now? You never touched it. You never touched it. Is that car worth $30,000 a year from now? Exactly, Dominic. No. Okay, Veronica. No. Okay, Crowsman. No. So we understand Wu-Tang Land. No. That's your first lesson on depreciation. That's something called the unseen expense. This is the expense most people are not trained to see. That's why they buy their cars and think, oh, I could just drive as much as I want and it doesn't matter. I'm not paying for the miles. You are paying for the miles. Let's go deeper with this lesson. Now, if you don't drive it 1 mile, we all agree it was worth $30,000. A year later, it's probably worth $25,000. We didn't touch it. Now, if we drive it, average miles 12,000, it's probably worth $22,000. You know, if we drive it high miles, it's probably worth $20,000. So you see that no matter whether you buy or lease, you pay for the mileage. You pay for your usage. In fact, you even pay if you don't use it. So now, I want to use something a little harder than that. When you understand that, you're going to see, Deshone, okay, if I'm losing that type of money in my car when I buy it, when do I ever get to a point where I'm winning? And the longer you keep a car, the more this starts to level out. So when you get to about 7 years, now you're no longer losing thousands of dollars every year. This is the purpose of the purchase, is to get to a point where your car is no longer losing value every year and you can keep it and it becomes something that is an asset because it's not taking money out of your house and you're not losing money. Now, the mistake is when you people who answered, if you're a person who said 5 years, 4 years, 3 years, 6 years, your mistake is buying a car and you trying to replace it while it's still on this type of drop. That's why you're never happy when you go trade your car. That's why you have negative equity, because the asset value is so low because it's dropping like a brick every single time for the first 5 years, every single year, first 5, 6 years. How do we avoid that long term? So every one of you that said, Deshone, 8 years, 10 years, you should be purchasing. Deshone, what if I'm not keeping it that long? You should be shopping for leases. because you cannot compare. Look at Danielle. Look at Danielle. Danielle's lease deal, she got $44,000 Audi A3. She's paying $550 a month. No money down. That same car, if she bought it, would be $900 a month. Every $5,000, some of you know, is about $100 a month on a 5-year loan. Depends on what the interest rate is. So that same car that she's driving for $550 would be about $900 a month to buy. So we have to understand, the leasing versus buying question is so easy once you just follow these parameters. You are avoiding depreciation when you get great lease deals, or you're avoiding depreciation when you buy and keep 8+ years. Anytime in between that or any other strategy, you are not avoiding depreciation. The unseen expense is what's taking the most money from your household, is the unseen expense. Everybody clear on that so far? If you're clear on that, type clear. If you're clear on that, type clear. I call this the 8-year rule. You will not, if you stick to this, you will win every time. And if you break this rule, you're going to lose every time. See, I can't help you get a great deal if you bought when you should have leased. Think about Danielle's deal that I just told y'all about. $550 a month on an Audi A3. Even the person who bought and they were paying $900 a month, even if they saved another $5,000, got a ridiculous deal off the car, which we could get. We help you get the best deal. That's no problem. But if you bought it, you're still $8 something a month. So if your deal is on the wrong foundation, there's no way to get a great deal. So buying versus leasing, the most important question, the 8-year rule, is your first step always. Okay, and I see a lot of people typing clear. So good. Okay, shoot the next question up, Dolan. And I know some of you are like, Deshone, I was taught all my life, don't lease. If you weren't keeping your cars 8 years, then those people who taught you that owe you some money. They're not going to give it to you, but unfortunately, they have cost you money. I followed your process and leased 2 cars. Your approach is easy and very transparent. This is Instagram. I appreciate this. The dealerships could not hide. Appreciate you. Come on. See, that's how I want every one of you talking. That's how I want every one of you talking. We're no longer negotiating to get our best deals. We are sorting and letting people come to us. It's oil and water. You got to complete. Why do you think I represent Unlearn, Relearn? Because I know the first problem I saw when I started teaching this in 2021, I started before that, but God blew me up in 2021. You know, we got 1.5 million followers on TikTok, and everything went crazy since then. We teach, but I was like, oh, people got so much bad information that they got to unlearn. I can't put good information on top of bad information. So you got to be willing to scrap that, realize it's cost you money. It's from people who don't understand cars. They might have bought 10 cars, 20 cars in their life. Now they think they're an expert. And that's just cost you. So you got to be willing to unlearn all of that stuff and learn the new way. And that's what we do here. So I'm glad. Enjoy. I'm so glad you're empowered, Coach Booker T. You're empowered. And that's what I want for everybody. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. I have a Jag and need to downsize. All right, we'll get to you. I see you on TikTok. I have a Jag and need to downsize. Thank you, Brandon. Appreciate all the gifts on TikTok. Could y'all keep running the screen, the likes up, tapping the screen? If you're spending time with us and you're going to spend a couple minutes with us, can y'all just every couple minutes just tap the screen, keep shooting those likes up? We get TikTok's attention. We let them know we talking about things over here that more people need to hear. So appreciate all of you. I see you already. All right, this one's from TikTok. How long can you keep a car when you lease? Asking with miles. 3 years. 3 years. We don't do 4-year lease deals. Stay away from 4-year lease deals. When you are getting your offers, and we do this online, so we go direct to the dealer site. We don't go through a third party because they pay for those leads. We don't want anything that drives the cost up when it comes to us. We go direct to the dealer's websites. In my book, I have a link to all the dealer's websites. I teach you how to do a radius search, and it takes about 15 minutes to contact 25 dealers, because when we shop for new cars and leases, we use something I created called the 25 to 5 strategy. So we're going to connect with 25 dealers online. and then we're going to get 5 to 7 quotes from that. So we're going direct to the dealer's website. That also allows us to shop out of 25 dealers' inventories, because 1 or 2 dealers is not enough. They might not have what you're looking for. Now you're at the mercy of who has what you're looking for. When we connect with 25, we're typically going to be able to get 5 to 7 offers from that. So it just takes about 15. It just takes about 15 minutes. But we don't want to, like I said about 10 minutes ago, we dictate how we want our leases customized. And our leases are always first payment out of pocket, total out of pocket, first payment, 12,000 miles per year. And then we are, we're doing 12,000. And once someone wins the bid, out of those 5 to 7 offers, you're going to see, again, like I said, between the Cars from Home book, between the Cars from Home video library, and between my coaching program, we've done this with about 8,000 people since 2021. I can tell you we have enough data to tell you this is how it goes. Once you get 5 to 7 offers, you're going to see at least $150 to $200 difference from your best offer to your worst offer. That proves, that's why I say 80% of dealers are overpriced. So once you see that bid, you're going to, but we dictate that 3 years. We don't let people present leases to us. We tell them, this is how I want the lease. And if anyone suggests a 4-year lease, even a 3.5-year lease is too long, because you're eliminating the benefits of leasing, which is switching cars every 3 years. I want the latest and greatest. I want to pay the pennies on the dollar compared to someone purchasing, and I want to be able to switch cars, and most of the time be under warranty, depending on what brand you're shopping for. If you're shopping Chevy, if you're shopping Ford, if you're shopping most brands with a 3-year bumper-to-bumper warranty, once you go 3.5, once you go 4, you're out of warranty. So I don't even like going 3.5. If it's a ridiculous deal for 3.5, maybe, but I'm typically 3 years, 39 months, maybe, and that's in my template. We'll do 3 or 39 months. 2-year lease deals are rare. You don't really see great 2-year lease deals. But if a manufacturer has it, then a dealer would tell you. When we contact them, they'll tell, hey, we got a great 2-year lease deal. Are you open to that? Yeah, we're open to 2, but we're not open to going longer than 39 months. We're paying too long on a car we're giving back. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. Great question. All right, I see you. Perfect. Great questions. All right, Facebook. What's the best credit score to have when looking for a good deal on a brand new car? It's no way to dictate that. All you can do is now, if you're at a point where your credit is in that fair range, which is in that low 6s, mid 6s, then I would tell you, if you can, get yourself up to close to 7, get yourself up to 680, 690, 700, because that fair range is but that's really mostly with leases. But even even if you look, some of you are homeowners. When you buy a house, we're trying to get our credit to wherever it needs to be. If it's not there from the get-go, realtors will tell you, get your credit here so that you can get a mortgage. If you have the luxury of time, then sure, work on it. But our process, the bank bidding war process, eliminates the need for you to actually do this, because what it's going to do is going to, no matter where you find yourself at, you're going to get so many bids, you're going to make sure that whatever the best loan was that you could qualify for, you got it. I talked about the bank bidding war at the beginning of the show. So y'all know, if you're on YouTube, watch the replay, rewind it, watch the replay. We are live at 12 and 3 p.m., y'all. We're doing Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 12 p.m., 3 p.m. We are live. Actually live, but throughout the day we rebroadcast these shows so that more people can see them. But in any time outside of that, I want you to go back and watch the replay if we answer something that you ask. And you want to find out, if you get the book, you'll see the bank bidding war that I send out with the book. That's how we get banks and credit unions to bid for our loan. But I explained it earlier in the show. All right, shoot the next one up, Dolan. All right. This one showing up from YouTube. Quick question. Would you pay $9,000 for an SUV with $164,000 on the dash? It's a 2014. All right. So great YouTube name and picture. Shout out to The Last Dragon. No. Well, look, it's car specific. When we shop for used cars, who's going to be shopping for a used car? Type a letter U. I want y'all to listen up. We use a process called the multiple marketplace strategy. This is in my, now I told y'all, our process for shopping for new cars is, or new cars and leases, is the 25 to 5. Our process for shopping for used cars is the multiple marketplace strategy, because we want to be on every marketplace that has a car. And there's 8 of them: Driveway, Carvana, CarMax, Carfax.com, Car Gurus, AutoNation, Cars.com, eBay Motors, and I'm missing one. These all have different inventory. Now, some of the inventory is the same. I've seen times where you go on you go on Auto Trader, and the price hasn't been updated, but you go on Car Gurus and the price has been updated. So there's a car for 36, same car on Auto Traders is 34. So you must be on all marketplaces. But then there's a process that we use to sort down to get a quality car. First thing we're going to do is, if you are aiming for a car, you need to do a longevity check and a reliability check. This takes 5 minutes. We type in the year, make, model into Google, reliability, and we skim those first couple articles. If you see a bunch of stuff that says questionable reliability, 7 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10, that's enough to eliminate the car, in my opinion. After you type in reliability, and look, my whole process for shopping takes 60 to 90 minutes. So everything I'm telling you to do are 5-minute things, 20-minute things, 15-minute things. We do this right from home. That's why the book is called Cars from Home: 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. So now, once you do reliability, now you're going to do longevity. Longevity is going to tell you what the data says about that car long term. If it has transmission issues, if it's not known for lasting. Sometimes the longevity records on Google will say this car is known to last 200 to 300,000 miles. So that's the first thing. Thank you, Mr. Super. I see you. That's the first thing. Before we even look at a car and consider it, we got to make sure we do that 5-minute check. Now, once we move past that, now we're moving into our process of sorting down, because we could have a good car with good data, but we could get a bad car based on the previous owners. So first thing we're looking at is the Carfax. Carfax. We want to know what that title's like. Is it salvage? Is it rental? Is it frame damage? Is it rebuilt? Eliminating those. Now we're moving on to service records. This is the biggest indicator, in my opinion, on if a car was taken care of. It's not title history. It's not accident history. It's service records. Service records. So if I see a car and I see that the service has been done year by year, whether it's a one owner, and I can see every couple thousand miles, service. Great indicator. Great indicator. Opposite is also true. Hold on, Darryl, it's in my TikTok bio. You won't leave the broadcast. He said, how do I get the book? Go to my TikTok bio, click that link. You'll see a link for 75% off for 30 minutes. Grab your copy. It'll be in your inbox in a couple minutes. Okay? And everybody who's on here, you can get your copy for 75% off my new digital book. And I do updates. So anything changes in the market, I update it so that it stays fresh, it stays relevant. So once we move past service records, now we're moving to accident history. Now, all accidents aren't created equal. If you see an accident and it says airbags deployed, that's a deal breaker for me. If you see an accident and it says vehicle towed, that's a deal breaker for me. If you see an accident and it says vehicle drivable, minor accident, that's not a deal breaker for me. Depending on, I'll put it in my top 5. Doesn't mean it's going to be the one that wins, but I will put it in my top 5, top 7. So these are the things that you're looking for when you actually are shopping, trying to make sure the car is good. It's not just the year. It's not just the price. Forget about that. That comes later. It's not the mileage. Those things come first to dictate, is this a good car? Car could have 60,000 miles on it. If it has bad title history, bad accident history, no service records, it's a trouble car. So that's the system. As I said, everything I want you to do from now on is shop with a system. So you are not winging it anymore. You follow those systems. Again, there's no guarantees. But if you have a strategy and you're like, okay, I'm taking the steps to do my best to make sure that whatever I put my money in, I've done the due diligence, 9 times out of 10, you're going to win versus just winging it. Okay, great question. Great question. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. Oh, by the way, I teach a strategy where you might not know. I'm getting ready to give y'all some game. The whole show is game, but I'm gonna get ready to give y'all one of my secret strategies. It's in my book. I got a lot of stuff in my book. A lot of stuff. But a lot of you don't know when you're on these marketplaces. Keep that question ready. We're gonna go to that next one in 2 seconds. That Carfax, many dealers have agreements with Carfax. So when you're on these marketplaces, you might see Carfax, they'll try to sell you a Carfax. What we do is we bypass we'll go to the dealer's website and we'll see if they have a free Carfax there. Because if that dealer has an agreement with Carfax, that means every car in their inventory, they'll be able to get a Carfax on the dealer's website. I told you, we use Carfax because Carfax is the only one right now that shows service records. The other auto check does not show service records. And I will not buy a car, and I would not suggest you ever buy a car without seeing service records. All right? That's what we do. Go ahead, shoot the next one up, Dolan. What does residual amount mean? Well, that's the amount that okay, so let's say when you lease, there's a percentage you pay for, and there's a back-end percentage. The back-end percentage is what they want the car back for, and they're going to sell it and, make money. Now, we'll see if we can sell it. We always see if we can sell a lease, if we can make money. We do an equity assessment at the end, but the residual amount, let's just say the car is broken into 2 halves. 40% is what you're going to pay for, and you're going to pay interest on that 40%. And then the 60% is what's left, and that goes back. That's what happens when the dealer comes back. That's when you give it back to the bank, not the dealership. That doesn't matter to us. We do not shop based on residual values, money factors. We do not shop based on that. We get bids because we can't control that. I've had people in the years come in, Wall Street finance guys come in with their finance calculators, asking me the money factor. And when I give them the money factor, we're converting it to an interest rate multiplied by 2,400. And they're like, okay, they're doing all this math, and it's not going to help them because all they're doing is one-to-one negotiating. You don't get your best deal doing one-to-one negotiating. You get your best deal by making multiple dealers submit offers and bids. So you can know the residual all you want. You don't know the rebates. What if there's no rebates? You don't know that. You don't know you don't know if I'm an 80% dealer and I'm not going to discount, or I'm going to mark my car price up $2,000 and then take off that $2,000 and make you think you won. But all I did was take off the $2,000 that I was overcharging anyway. So you don't know who you're dealing with. That's why one-to-one never works. Sitting at home and getting bids from at least 5 dealers. My way is the 25-to-5. We're going to connect with 25 dealers online on their website, send them my template. You can send them an email, letting them know what you want. In my book, I have links to my templates and my video library. You're using all my stuff and you're not talking. We connect with 25 and we're looking to get 5 to 7 offers. That's the only thing we can control. We can't control the residual amount. We can't control the money factor. We don't shop like that. It's not going to help you. In fact, it'll slow you down and it'll hurt you because you're overanalyzing things that don't even matter. And trust me, I love numbers. I love numbers. I was in calculus in 11th grade, so I can do this stuff in my daggone sleep. But what I don't want is to teach you to do that, because I don't do that. It doesn't take that. None of these people that you see, look, when you see Eddie, matter of fact, he bought, hold on. When you see, look, let me show you Benita. Benita in the middle of the pandemic. The reason why I always show Benita is because in the middle of the pandemic, She got a Kia Telluride when people were paying $5-10 grand over sticker form. Kia Telluride, $600 a month, 36 months. She drove out. It's like a $46,000 vehicle. People were paying $800 a month. Some of you may know somebody who's leasing a Kia Telluride that they got during the pandemic. If they didn't put money down, they're paying $800 a month, $700 something a month, minimum. Now, one thing people will never tell you though is the money they put down. So don't even ask them, because people tell you, oh, I'm paying $600 a month myself. They'll never tell you they put $4,000 down though. Never. So, but yeah, when you are shopping like this, you're getting bids. She doesn't know what the deal is going to be until she shops. And when she shops, she doesn't care about the residual value. It doesn't matter to her the money factor. None of that stuff matters. The only thing that matters is, let me get my bids and see who's going to win the bid. That's it. That's it. Go ahead. Shoot the next one up, Dolan. Let me put that banner back up. For all of you who just jumped on, this entire show is sponsored by my new digital book. It's called Cars from Home. 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships. I'm the author of that book. I'm also the creator of the Cars from Home video library and the Cars from Home coaching program. You can get your book for 75% off in my TikTok bio, in my Instagram bio. It's normally $97, but you can get your copy for 75% off by going to my bios and getting it, or you can scan the QR code or go to deshonsbook.com. 75% off for 30 minutes. All right. So get your copy. Everything I teach is in there, and you can reference it for life. All right. This one's from TikTok. When I see, we already did that one. I know you're snatching all the questions, but I tied that question in, even though you didn't post it. I tied that question into the other person who was asking about 0 down leases. All right. Thanks, Dolan. Okay. This is another one from TikTok. Lease mileage is, let's go Instagram. Make sure you're typing your questions. All right. Make sure you type in your questions, Instagram. We live every day at 12 and 3. So let's see. TikTok. Lease mileage 10,000 under allowable. Does that value when getting next lease? No. What you're going to do is you're going to do an equity assessment. You are not going to, how many people right now have dealers calling them, telling them to come in and they can get you out of your lease, or they could trade you out of your car and put you in another car? How many people have either phone calls coming in, emails, or you get mail? Hey, Leo, good news. We need your 2019 car. We have somebody looking for that car. How many people are getting those emails or those calls right now? When you get those emails, look, all of them, look, look, I do every day, Matthew said. Look, so when you get those calls, what they're doing is we have automatic algorithms, like automatic technology that generates these lists for us. It's not that they saw your car exactly and they're like, oh, I love your particular car. So what you got to know is, what's the goal? The goal is to get you to come in and get you to have them be your first offer on your vehicle. Now, we never want a dealer to be our first offer. Hold on, Tiffany. We never want a dealer to be our first offer. We want the dealer to be our last offer all the time when it comes to our car that we're replacing. So you're going to do something, Wanda, called an equity assessment. You're going to call the bank. You're going to ask the bank 2 questions if you're leasing. 1 question if you own. What's my payoff? That's the question everyone asks. If you're leasing, you're going to ask the second question. Do I have a third-party restriction? If they say no, then you need to write that down. If they say yes, you need to account for this. Once you hang up that phone call, you're going to do this equity assessment, which is going on the 6 websites I mentioned earlier: CarMax, Driveway, Carvana, Kelly's Blue Book Instant Cash Offer, AutoNation, Sell My Car, and Car Guru, Sell My Car. Every one of those sites, if they ask you, if you have a loan, if you are leasing, when they ask you, is the car owned, finance, leased, you're going to put owned. Don't put lease, because it triggers something in their website. They don't know how to separate third-party restrictions and not. And just so you know, for those of you who think you can't sell your lease because you have a third-party restriction, you're wrong. We sell leases with third-party restriction. A third-party restriction doesn't mean you can't sell your lease. It means you can only sell your lease to a dealership that sells the same brand. So if I have a Nissan lease, I can only sell my lease directly to a Nissan dealer. And I'm selling and getting what? What's the best? What do we do? Bids. I'm not, every Nissan dealer is not the same. So for those of you who had third-party restrictions, I saw a lot of people, oh, I had to buy my car and resell. We don't do that. If you have equity, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in equity in your lease, you are now going to sell that car to a local dealership, and we're going to get bids. I have a script in my book for talking to used car managers and getting bids from local used car managers. Now, if you don't have a third-party restriction, it's even easier. You're going to get those bids, those 6 bids, and you're going to sell to one of those. If you have a finance, it's even easier. Finance and no third-party restriction is pretty much the same. You're going to sell to the highest bidder of the online dealers. And if you have to replace your car, you're just going to keep those offers on hold, because some of you are going to say, well, I could make $3,000 selling my car, but I need to find my new car first. No problem. In my book, I teach something called timing the transaction. You're just going to put those offers on hold. You're going to start your shopping, and you're going to find the dealer who's going to win your bid to sell you the car. And then you're going to pick up your new car and sell your old car the same day. These companies cut you a check. This isn't like Facebook Marketplace. You go into CarMax, literally they inspect the car, they cut you a check, you leave with the difference. It's not a 2-3 day thing. This isn't like, oh, I need to, no, this is very simple to do. And that's the equity assessment process. We get bids on everything. Our old car, our new car we're buying, our loan. Everything's a bid. All right, everybody clear on that? If you're getting value out of the show so far, I want you to type $sign. If you're getting value out of the show so far, type $signs in the comments. I want to make sure that we're getting value out of what we're talking about. And then we're going to go to Tiffany's question. All right, I see you, Brandon. All right, perfect. All right, I see you, Denise. I see you, Terrence. I see you, user 977-163-105-3712. I see you, the Wildlife Diva. Perfect. 36 Chambers. Richard, I see you. Perfect. All right. Wonderful. All right. Shoot. Can you pull Tiffany's question up? I purchased the book and reviewed the email. How it hasn't downloaded since I did something wrong. Dominic, just as soon as you purchase the book, I give you a support email. Don't DM, because we have 2 million followers. We're blessed, thank God. DMs, we get hundreds of DMs. You get a support email. Let me know if you got it. And then just if there's anything, we'll get you the book. We'll send it to you manually. Okay. So just hit me with that. Just make sure you got it. All right. So Tiffany said, this is from TikTok, would you finance your lease at the end? 2018 Audi S5, 42,000 miles, 5K down, 12,000 miles. So when I talked to you earlier, you have to ask yourself the same question. If you were here earlier, the most important question is, how many years are you keeping the next car? You're going to ask yourself the same question right now, because you're about to buy another car. You have to see your lease. Buying your lease, you have to see it as buying another car. It's a used car. That's what you're doing. Hold on. Okay, LA Connect, do me a favor. Hold on. LA Connect, shoot me a DM. I'll look for your DM, and you get the support email. You don't get the support email. As soon as you purchase, the thank you page says, here's the support email. So, and check your spam and check your junk folder, okay? Because we got a pretty sophisticated email technology that is spot on most of the time. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you it's perfect, but I mean, we deliver a lot of books without issue. So sometimes it's in spam, sometimes it's in the junk folder. Okay, so that's how you have to see buying your lease. You're buying a used car. The only difference is it's your car. That's the only difference. You don't, instead of going to look for a used car, you're saying, I'm going to buy that used car. So the same question exists. How many years are you going to keep the car? Now, if you say 8, you're not going to break the 8-year rule. Then you could buy it. But if it's not 8, it makes 0 sense not to be shopping for another lease. I'm going to tell you why. One, the depreciation. And I'll talk to you about, I'll do a quick scenario of, because some people say, Deshone, when I buy used cars, they don't depreciate as much as used cars, but you still pay more than people who get great lease deals. Than people who get great lease deals. You're still paying more money, and now you're paying more money for a for a worse car. So, but when you are looking at these scenarios, most people are going to finance for a 5-year or 6-year loan to buy their lease out. But you've already had the car for 3 years. So you have to say to yourself, what's the likelihood I'm going to keep this car that I've already had for 3 years for another 3 years? Tiffany, if you didn't get if the new lease payment, if that's not the best offer out of 5 dealers, then that doesn't matter to me. Because we don't care about what one dealer says, especially a dealer who's going to try to see you. Some of you are too loyal to these dealers, and you got to stop. I'm not loyal to any dealer. No one who listens to me is loyal to any dealer. We are done with being friends with dealers. We don't need to go to a barbecue with our car salesman. We don't need to do that anymore, because we need to make car salespeople compete and different dealers compete. Tons of people will walk in, get one quote from an old dealer or a dealer that sold them 2 cars, and that quote is $900 a month, and they're like, oh, I guess that's what the car costs. Not realizing, no, that's what the car costs from that dealer. That's what it costs from that dealer. Your competition is going to be $1,000 a month, $1,050 a month, $850 a month, $790 a month. I told you, when you shop the correct way, you are going to expose the dealers that are overpriced. That's why that person who came on here, who Dolan put that comment up that said, hey, I use your stuff, dealers can't hide. Because it's an exposing of the overpriced car dealers. We see the people who are overcharging us, because when we see that best offer is $790, and then we see another offer for $840, another offer for $890, another offer for $920, we realize all of those other higher price offers were taking a shot at us, hoping that we weren't going to shop them. But that's okay. We're buying from the 20% who beats their offers. So before we ever make a decision to leave, we must shop 5 offers, and none of you are going to realize that this is right. See, like I said, between my book, the Cars from Home Library, and my coaching program, we've helped 8,000 people since 2021. These are the numbers. 80% of dealers are overcharging you. And if you don't have multiple offers in front of you, at least 5, you're not going to ever find the best price dealers. And you don't do this the hard way, going into dealer to dealer to dealer. You do this sitting at home on these dealers' websites, requesting your offers, looking at offers strategically. That's why my book is called Cars from Home. My system is called Cars from Home. We spend time here. We're not in a dealership for more than 30 minutes. Okay? So getting back to your question about buying your lease, I'm not buying a used car. I'm not switching my strategy. The philosophy of going from a lease to a purchase is a total strategy shift. That means I'm going from a short-term person who doesn't like maintenance, who doesn't want to put more long-term, who doesn't want to keep a car long-term. I want to be under warranty most of the time. I want to drive cars for pennies on the dollar, compared to people who buy. Now I'm switching that to become a long-term person, because there's a different set of values when you're buying cars for 8 to 10 years to 12 years. That means I'm going to pay off my car. I'm going to get to the point where it's not depreciating a lot anymore. I don't care about having the latest and greatest. Once my car is paid off, I just got a car that's 7, 8 years, 9 years old, but I'm going to keep it in my family for a long time, and I'm going to win that way. I'm going to win by having that car 10 years. The longer I keep it, the less I paid for it. If I keep a car 15 years, the less I paid for it. I keep it 12 years, the less I paid for it. So it's 2 sides of the spectrum. That's why when you buy your lease, you're going from one mindset to an entirely different mindset of buying a used car. So the best thing to do is just learn how to shop the way I'm teaching you to shop, so that you can get great lease deals. They are out here. I showed you Bonita. Bonita got a great lease deal middle of the pandemic. Middle of the pandemic, when there was blood in the streets, people coming out of car dealerships with axes in their head. That's how much they overpaid. That's how much they overcharged. They got 10,000 over sticker, 8,000 over sticker. Bonita's taking deals down. We've been doing this, but the only way you're going to get great deals is to stop shopping the way they want you to shop and start shopping the way you should shop, which is being in control, making people bid for your business. And you're going to get entirely different results. You're going to realize, dang, these dealers been overcharging me. That's perfect. That's perfect. All right, go ahead, Dolan. Shoot the next one up. We got a couple more minutes. Try to get through as many as possible. All right, this one's from Instagram. I'm reaching out to dealers. Point. I'm ready to compare price. I don't know what to say. You don't talk. If you're doing it my way, you should be on their email. Now, if you're doing it the manual way, which I'm not even going to teach anymore. I used to say on some of the older broadcasts, I would say call, talk to a sales manager. But I want to do it by email. We go to a dealer's website, we use the contact tab, we tell them what we want, and then we're having conversations from there. Now we do that. We do that with 25 dealers. We always get a separate email. These are the little things that we must do to make our in my book, in everything I teach, it's for a reason. We get a separate email. We get a Google Voice phone number because we're not talking to people. If we're talking to anybody, we're talking to sales managers. We are not talking to salespeople unless we're setting up a test drive. And even that, there's a way we do it. We want to talk to the most experienced salesperson. We want to talk to the person who has a great history, who everybody loves. We want to talk to the person because the wrong salesperson won't even have the car ready for you when you get there to test drive. New salesperson just started. He over there, thinking about how he'll just, so we got to even act for the right salesperson to set up a test drive. But we're not talking. See, when you're not talking, you can stay out of emotion. Even the first time you use my stuff and you start using my scripts and my templates, you're still going to be a little emotional, unless you're just, some of you have a very like stoic personality. Some of you have a very, whether it's military or whether it's just your natural personality, you don't get emotionally involved. This is what you need to be. And some of you who are emotional, you're going to see there's no reason for me to be emotional anymore using this. I'm at home, I'm in control, I'm making people bid, and I'm not talking to people where they can get me emotional and I can say something that's going to hurt me or cost me money. So we are doing all of this online through their website, letting them know what we want, requesting our offers. And like I said, we do something called the 25-to-5 strategy, where we're connecting with 25 dealers online to get 5 quotes. That's how we shop for new cars and leases, not used cars, new cars and leases. So you shouldn't be talking saying, I don't know what to say. You are reaching out to them. First thing we're going to do is let them know what we want. After we confirm the dealer has what we want, then we're going to request our quote and our offer. So that is what, and if you are shopping for a purchase, then we're requesting an all-in quote. We're requesting an or total, all fees, everything included. And if we're shopping for a lease, I talked about earlier how we get our lease quotes and how the format that we have when we're shopping for our lease quote. So my book is $24 if you get it at the 75% off. In that book is my scripts. In that book is my templates where you fill in your information, you fill in the car you want, and I walk you through my entire process. I also have replies in there because there's going to be things that they say. These are trained people you're dealing with. We deal with trained salespeople. So when you are reaching out to them, they're going to say things like, hey, when can you come in? Hey, okay, I'm handling my entire process from home. And then you always end with a question. All my scripts end with a question. You should always end your email with a question, not a statement. So if they say, hey, we only car shop, we only give quotes in person. Okay, well, no other dealer that I'm talking to has said that. Should I remove you from my list, or are you gonna present an offer? Always a question, because you bounce the ball back to them. So all of my scripts and my replies are in there. This is what, and there's, but you need to keep the conversation on your agenda. You're having a conversation online with these dealers. And That's why I say separate email, Google Voice number, dedicated, locked in. You don't want a bunch of car dealers' emails mixed in your personal email. It's just, that's not how we do it. That's going to mess you up. We do not do it like that. That'll confuse you. Now you're missing emails and all of that. Separate email. All right. Go ahead. Denise is asking, can you answer my question? I want to know if I have options. Can you find Denise's question from TikTok? Dolan? You see Denise's question? Give her a second. Thoughts on, while you do that, I'm going to enter this thoughts on leasing a Tesla. There's no price negotiation. There's no price negotiation. So there's no reason to get bids. You can't get bids on Tesla. Keep that up. I'm going to get to that right after this. This is a short answer. What you need to do when you're leasing a Tesla is total out of pocket, first month payment, 12,000 miles per year, divide the monthly payment into the MSRP, like I said. And if it's over 1.5%, you're paying too much for a car you're giving back. So we still need to know if the lease deal's good. Doesn't matter. Even if it's no negotiations. Plenty of people out there that got bad lease programs that are dependent on people who don't know what a bad lease program is to come in and lease the car. And until we stop leasing those cars at these bad lease programs, when we stop, that's when they'll change. All right, it's always a buyer's market for us. Go ahead. All right, so this one's from Denise. I have a Jag and need to downsize. I'm retired and upside down 14,000. See, here's the bad part about negative equity. The damage is done. I wish I was the person who could, give back. A lot of what I'm talking to y'all about is I'm shouting from the hills and warning you. It's up to you to take the warning. But in this particular case, with negative equity, the damage is done. Now, how do we get out of it? It's only two ways. I talked to you about that earlier. Now, in your particular case, now there's a third way. It involves the car. If the car is totaled or stolen and you don't recover it and you have gap insurance, then the car is. So I can't say there's not another way, but we can't plan on that. That's insurance fraud. So in the case of what's legal and ethical, you can only sell a car or trade into or replace it with another car. And in the case of negative equity, if you can't sell the car and pay the difference, go to YouTube. After this, I spent probably 8 to 10 minutes talking about how to get out of negative equity. There's 3 ways. 2 of them lead to a new car, 1 of them doesn't. If you can't use one of the 2 ways, which is paying the difference between what you owe and the highest bidder, then you have to transfer that to another car, in which case you have $14,000. What's your car payment? How much is your car payment? And if you need to downsize because you want a smaller car, okay, $769. If you need to downsize because what's the reason that you need to downsize? Is you need a lower payment, or you just need a smaller car? Lower payment or smaller car? Sometimes I need to ask more questions. This is why, we go, I have 3 things I created: the Cards from Home book, and the video library, and coaching. In particular cases, I need to ask more questions before we could give a custom answer. Lower payment. So you got to look at it like this. Most people should be transferring negative equity into a lease. Now, once you actually bring 14,000 over, and your negative equity amount should always be based on you getting the offers. It shouldn't be based on what you think or what a dealer told you the car is worth. So that's one thing. Let's start there. Equity assessment, you need to rewatch the show. You need to see that segment. If you have my book, you need to follow the segment on the equity assessment to find out what your real negative equity is. That is on a 39-month lease, bringing that over, you're talking about $14,000. That right there is $358 a month. You know what you possibly could do? Try listing the car on Swap a Lease. Now, if that payment is good for the car, let me see. Did we? You got a Jag. Depends on if $769 a month. Now watch this. If $769 a month is a good payment for that vehicle, then you can list it on Swap a Lease, and then you could have someone take over the payment. But it got to be a good deal. If they could go out and they could get a $600 payment on that same vehicle, then they're not going to take it over. So this is another option for you to consider. Now, if it might even be advantageous to you to list that car and contribute some. You might say, all right, I'll pay $100 and all right, my payment's $769, I'll pay $100 and somebody take it over for $669. Whatever you need to list it for to get out of it, to have someone take it over, may be advantageous to do until the lease ends. And then you go and get yourself a very inexpensive car that you can qualify for, because if you have someone take over the lease till the end, you could probably go get yourself something, lower payment, but that car coming into the deal, you're going nowhere, because $14,000, unless you got cash. If you got some cash, then yes, cash can solve all things. Get the offers, follow the equity assessment. You might pay the difference or transfer it over. You can't transfer it over because, like I just said, your negative equity alone is $350 a month. And that's without the interest that's going to be. It's probably going to be about $380 a month. So what's the note? Yeah, so that's what you should consider. List the vehicle on Swap a Lease and see if somebody's willing to take it over. And if nobody's, okay, no problem. That's what you do. That's what you don't have that kind of money to contribute. $14K is a lot to be able to contribute. So so what you should do is do that. If you could get somebody, if no one takes it over for $769, then offer to contribute some money towards the deal every month. Now, if you, no matter what, and then what you're gonna do is you're gonna go and probably, you're going to ask yourself the most important question for your replacement car. If you're not keeping 8 years, you should be looking to lease the next car and get yourself an inexpensive lease. If you are keeping it more than 8 years, then you can buy. But you're just going to use the same process. But you got to get rid of that car first. And I think with your scenario, that might be the best way to do it. All right. Good question, though. It's good question. Keep us posted. And, that's what we do. Look, we are live at 12 and 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, which means we'll be back in a few for the next segment today. You can come back. We had a lot of questions. We're not always able to get to them, but you can tell your friend. I haven't really announced it because I didn't know when I was going to be live, but now we'll get to the point where we can let you know 12 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Eastern time. We're live, but we rebroadcast these shows all throughout the day, because people do get a lot of value out of the rebroadcast. But if you want to meet us live, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 12 p.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern time, bring your questions. And if you didn't know, my book, Cars from Home, 7 Steps to Saving Time, Money, and Avoiding Dealerships, is 75% off for 30 minutes, part of our welcome offer. So you can get yours in my TikTok bio or in my Instagram bio, or go to DeshoneBook.com in the comment section on YouTube or in the comment section on Facebook. Or if you're watching us on TV, you can scan that QR code. But that's what we do here, y'all. We peel back the onion. We make sure you know how to shop strategically. And I want you writing me with deals. I don't want you writing me showing me your car. Everyone's doing that. Hey, got the new G-Wagon. Got the new BMW. Oh, your boy upgraded. Never talk about what we paid for it, though. I want you writing me saying, Deshone, look at the deal I got. This was the best offer. I made dealer's bid. This was the best used car within 100 miles. I'm driving an hour to go pick it up. When you're driving 45 minutes, an hour to go get your deal, that's when you really know you won. It's not always going to be that way. Sometimes local dealers will win the bid, but sometimes you're driving 45 minutes and you're driving 45 minutes because he's saving you $3,000. So that's what Cars from Home is about. That's what my book is about. You can get your copy instantly, 75% off for 30 minutes, and I'll see y'all on the next show. God bless.